me.
Welcome to the We Love Gaming Podcast, episode 61. My name is Godly Sovereign, and if you are new to the channel, I would like to commend you for being such a smart, brilliant person. And being the smart person that you are, I would recommend that you go ahead and subscribe for more of this awesome content. And, if you are a gracious person, which I know you are, right? You should definitely hit the like button. We are here to talk about games. It is another hot day in sunny California, IA. And I'm not here to talk about games alone. No. I, of course, have the 1,000 Game Slayer, Ray, a.k.a. Sir Knight. What's good, man? How was your weekend?
It's good, man. It's really good. Playing lots of games this week. Also, just really enjoying those Summer Olympics. Watching quite a bit of that, for lunch and dinner, just kind of, sticking tight on the Olympic Games. It's been really fun to have those back again.
All right.
But otherwise, man, it's been actually just a really chill week, getting baby things ready, once again. Shout out to Danny boy. Shout out to Dan if you're watching this, man.
Young Asher.
Young Asher. Congrats, man. But otherwise, yeah, chill. What about you?
Well, before I get into it, I just wanted to let you guys know that the Patreon link is below if you would like to help support us. Also a merch thing down there also, because we got a couple of these fly-ass shirts, so if you want to check them out, by all means. And basically this week, man, I found myself getting like a little bit of time here and there during some of my breaks and playing some games, but pretty much just chilling. It wasn't too crazy or hectic. Still trying to work on the backyard and fix some things up. So
yeah,
I was doing that, trying to start so I can finish my game room. So
every week is like I'm trying to finish. Yeah.
I really haven't been doing anything in it. I just been getting preoccupied with other stuff, so I just been slacking. But it's just like, damn, man, I want to get in there because I'm getting tired of my man corner. I'm trying to get my man cave popping. Right. Maybe move the podcast into there so that way we have like a little more eco-friendly area or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's about it. So as far as like the games you've been playing this week, tell me about them.
Yeah, man, there's actually a few I played this week. I've been kind of active, so I'll just try to touch on each one of them.
Okay.
So first and foremost, I beat Death's Door. And once again, like, I still can't say enough good about that. Like, that's a really good game. Excellent. It's definitely a 9. It's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, and after I played so many games this week, it makes it even better in my book. You just see how much better. It's always interesting when you play a great game, and then you start to play other games after that great game. You see actually just how great it was, right? Like, because it seems to be really hard, man, to find a balance in a polished combat system that's fun, that just feels right. Like, Death's Door is just so tuned right for combat. Because I played other games. I played Ascent. I played Tribes of Midgard.
Okay.
And I played...
Because you did tell us last week that you were getting those.
Yeah, I got those.
You didn't mention getting Ascent, though. I know you had
mentioned... Ascent is free on Game Pass.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so...
Oh, okay.
I was actually hoping you might have played that game. There were a couple new releases on Game Pass this week. One was like Sunmo or something like that, or Sunmo.
Okay.
It was like it looked interesting from the trailer, and it was gonna be free on Game Pass, so I put that on my list to try out. And then of course I was gonna get Tribes of Midgard. I just decided I was gonna get that, so I paid for that one.
Right.
And then also I was really pumped for Ascent. Ascent came out Thursday, I believe, of this last week, and so I was actually really excited for that one because the trailer just looked like really cool.
Okay.
I was really pumped for that one, and so I was like counting the days, and it was free on Game Pass. So I was like, I'm really looking forward to playing this one. But I started my week off beating Death's Door, so another game slayed.
1001 games slayed.
Yes, another game slayed. And for the most part, I still feel the same way about it. There's maybe one thing that I was not happy with.
What?
One thing I was not happy with. Otherwise, to me, it's like near perfect. And that was basically, it's just like Zelda. you collect the little. Or most games where like you collect 4 pieces, like 4 shards, and when you get all 4, you get like a health boost.
Right, yeah.
Or you get
4 heart pieces.
Yeah, and you get you a full heart piece. So just the same. Other games do that mechanic too, but it kind of started with Zelda.
Yeah.
Same exact thing. So in this game, there's 8 shrines, so you can get up to 2 additional heart pieces, 2 additional hearts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have a magic hearts as well. And there's 8 more shrines for those. You can get 2 more additional magic shots as well. So I was trying to hunt for them all. And I found all of them. And I was like really stumped on trying to get one of the last pieces for the heart. Come to find out, they have like this separate trial run inside the game that you don't need to complete to beat the game. It's just like for some reason a separate trial run.
Yeah.
And you get that last heart piece. And
so
I can't do it.
A different aspect of the game that you might not normally play.
Yeah, and then you're not good at
something.
Every other single piece it's not easy to get, but they're very standard. It's just like a little puzzle, or like it's an out of the way kind of thing, like it's off the beaten path, right? And you kind of discover. You know how games do that. Kind of a normal, standardized way of finding pieces. This one is like a challenge mode, and it's like I couldn't do it. Like it's tuned just a tad too hard, I think. Basically it's like,
and that's Death's Door.
That's Death's Door. And so I was unable to complete my final heart piece, so I was unable to complete that achievement. Like I just need one more. So I wasn't even able to go to the final boss, like with the full health pool. I had to go with one less health pool, so that made it harder. The final boss was tougher because of that. And so I was a little annoyed by that I thought, like, why they put that achievement behind that wall for some reason. Like they give you 15 out of 16 normally, and it's almost like a joke, like a laughing in your face.
But it's not necessary though.
It's just, it's not necessary to complete the game, but it's necessary if you're trying to.
If you're trying to 100%,
trying to 100% it, and you want to have full power, I
think it's because they want you to play that part, and if you play that part, then you get like that's like your little prize thing. It's like an incentive, but
but it's just hard. Yeah, I get I have no problem with like making your trophies like an incentive to do them, but this one feels like an actual block, like a wall. Like I think you'd have to really dump tons of time, a lot of time, to try to even get this one piece. Or you may not even be able to do it. It may just be impossible for you. Like you may not just be able to have the reflexes to do it, because it's like you're sliding on ice and you have to like shoot, and you have like milliseconds of time to make certain windows.
Yeah.
And it's like I tried it for probably like an hour straight, and I couldn't like make progress at all. I didn't even make progress on it. So I was like, this sucks. So I just gave up on it because I didn't want to tarnish too much of how I felt about the game.
Yeah.
And I just went and beat the game. But that's all I'll say about that. That's incredible. That's worth every penny so far. It's like my Hades of the year. It's like really good indie game.
Okay.
The next game I played was the PSN store has a big summer sale right now. I don't know if you know that. There's a big summer sale.
But I didn't check.
And it ends like, some of the games end like the 3rd of August, like this coming week. So if you guys want to check out that summer sale, there's some really great deals. If
you guys got any recommendations for us,
quick, recommend them for us, on Monday or whatever when this drops, and let us know what you think we should buy, because I'm always looking for new games. But Hitman 3 is on sale half off right now. It's like $30. Okay. So that was tempting, but I ended up,
should be $10.
$10,
yeah,
for Hitman 3.
That's how I feel.
Okay,
but go ahead.
All right. I don't know how you came to that conclusion.
I think it would be worth a pickup if it was like $10.
Okay.
30, I still don't think
it's a full AAA game. I think it's a great deal. $30 is a great deal. I think.
Yeah, just because it's AAA don't mean it's great.
It's it's one of the highest rated games of the year. So
what
I guess
they rated
whatever
at?
that.
Anyways, go ahead, keep going.
Yeah. So there's a game coming out on Xbox Game Pass called Origami 2, and it's a stealth game.
I don't think I heard of that one.
So it's like, Assassin's Creed, but it's pure stealth.
Okay.
So you can't play the game without doing stealth. It's meant to be entirely stealth.
Kind of like Plagues?
Probably. I haven't played Plagues, but yeah, it sounds maybe similar to that.
Yeah.
And so Origami 1 was on sale on the PSN store for like $4 or $5. So I picked that up.
Okay.
And I was going to play that until like Ascent came out or Tribes of Midgard came out. And I enjoyed that one too. So I've been kind of dabbling in and out of that one. and that one's pretty fun. It's got a really good stealth mechanics. If you like stealth games, like it's pretty solid. If you get seen, and they run up to you, like the game is over. It's not like you can switch to combat and fight your way out of it. Like you're toast. Like you're meant to stealth the whole way through.
Okay.
But what's really fun about it is like the powers are really well thought out. Like the power ups you find are really well thought out. Okay. Like they're really meaningful. Like you can get a power that just makes you go invisible. You can get a power that lets you see through walls. Like it's not just skill. It's like you actually have to find the scrolls in the level, and then you get these powers. Cool. So you don't even need them to like beat the game, because you might not even find the scrolls in the level. Right. But it makes it really incentivized to hunt for these scrolls, because the power-ups are really neat. So that's the coolest thing about that game that I've really been enjoying, is like hunting for the scrolls to get new powers.
Origami?
Okay. And that's on sale for the low right now on
$5.
$5. I think that's worth it.
You said it's on Game Pass too or not?
Origami 2 is coming out on Game Pass, which I think comes out in September or something like that.
Okay.
So it comes out pretty soon. So I wanted to I'll just buy the first one, see what it's like, because it's coming out on Game Pass.
Yeah.
And so then I got Tribes of Midgard.
Right.
And
how much you pay for that? 20?
20. And that one is pretty good. I had some complaints about it. My first complaint was I don't think they kind of told you enough to help you understand certain things. You're kind of lost. There's a very short tutorial, but in my opinion, like the tutorial shows you things that I think you would have kind of already naturally figured out.
Okay.
Like, I think you would have already naturally figured out as you run by things, if you hit X, you can harvest them. I don't think the game like needed to tell me that, because as you just run by, I'll just say harvest, you just press X and you harvest it. Or you go into your village and it takes you to the vendors. So it's like, I would have done that already. I would have gone to the vendors in my village already, because they're marked on your map.
Yeah. That's
basically what they taught you in the tutorial.
Okay.
The things that are confusing to me was like, basically there's these like buildings in your fort or around your fort that you can rebuild, but I still have yet to really find like how you even get the materials to rebuild them. So it seems like you take the materials and turn them into something more. Like, for instance, you find wood, but the materials I need to build the building outside my base is planks or boards, wood boards, it says. And it's like, I don't really know where I'm supposed to get wood boards from. I have
you need like a sawmill or something like that.
Yeah, and there is a sawmill that I can build, but it's like, but I need boards to build it. So I'm confused on like what I'm supposed to do.
So then you'd have to essentially hunt or go to the market and find boards, right? They'd have to be selling.
I looked it up. Here's what there is. There's a market in the world, and it's random because the game's procedurally generated.
Yeah.
There's supposedly some merchant out there in the world I've never seen before. Only
one merchant.
Yes, that sells boards. And you have to like level them up, and I think you can exchange like your wood in for boards. It's kind of like you get the boards that way, or cut stone too. You need to cut stone and like cut iron to build these buildings. And so it's like, well, gosh, dude, like I was like racking my brain, wasting time. And the reason why I say wasting time is because this game is a time-based game, which also is something that bothers me too. You're on a timer, so every day is a
like
timer
before an apocalypse happens. Or some shit?
There's like two types of apocalypses that happen.
Okay.
One is like you get attacked by the darkness at night. So whenever a night hits, you get attacked. Your village gets attacked by darkness.
Oh. Okay.
And then occasionally,
this is a survival game?
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of things wrapped into one, man. Like it's basically like Don't Starve meets Diablo, right? And a builder. So like you're trying to build things. So you're collecting wood, you're going and chopping trees down. You're doing that whole collection aspect. You're don't starving, and you're out there doing action RPG. You're like slicing things up. You're collecting weapons and gear and doing. It's like a legitimate action RPG because you have skills and abilities, and like a class tree. Yeah. So it's like Diablo meets Don't Starve, and anyways, I don't really know exactly like. When I click on a character and I level it up, I don't exactly know like what I'm doing. So like I found out, I watched a tutorial, like certain things. Oh, so when I'm leveling up that guy, I knew it was giving me access to new gear to get. Right. But also, would have never known this ever. That the higher the level that shop I upgraded it, the better he's at defending the village.
Oh, so you're actually leveling
So-
up your people to protect.
Yes.
your
So
area.
at night, when night hits, it's not as hard on me to pretend to protect the village. I never would have ever known that. The
So
game
you
never
kind of
told me
like
that.
have to equally disperse your upgrades or whatever amongst the villages. to help
Exactly.
protect
So
the
I was
village.
like, oh, I just want to get my weapons up. So I dump souls into that, then I dump souls in again. But what I'm not realizing is I'm only really fortifying one portion of my village because
Right.
all the village needs to be fortified.
Yeah.
And the vendors are all around it, scattered around the village.
Interesting. Okay.
So then when I learned that, I didn't upgrade the blacksmith again, or I went to the next one. I just kept going around. So now what I do now when I play is I kind of do at least one vendor at each corner of the village.
Yeah.
Even if there's more than one vendor, I try to get one at each corner. So
Right.
at every corner, there's at least one strong merchant. And so that I never would have known. And the timer's really short, man. Like I feel rushed.
like
like
you
when
got
I-
like 10 minutes or something like
Yeah.
that before night hits.
Maybe not even 10 minutes. You might have like 5-6 minutes to go like hunt in the world.
Yeah.
So you're like in a mad dash rush, try to collect as much resources as you can and try to get as far as you can from because you discover new zones as you move further out. Just like Don't Starve, you come into a new zone, there's new things there.
Yeah.
Same exact thing. And there's a power level, so you have like a item level, just like like in Diablo or whatever.
Yeah.
So I felt rushed. So when I was playing, I was like, gosh, I would rather this be like one or the other. I'd rather it be like just collecting and just trying to survive, or it be like an action RPG where I can kind of take my time, explore, collect loot, discover, and just kind of like relax.
If it
and
wasn't
discover.
timed, it wouldn't be as bad. Or if it was,
Or if the
maybe
timer
it
was
a longer
longer, the time feels a little short to me. Like night comes pretty quickly, and there are shrines placed throughout the world, which I didn't even realize this either until I saw the tutorial. Because I would come across like the what's the gateway between Asgard and the world, the Frost, the Bifrost.
Yeah.
The Bifrost.
Right.
I come across that, but it's shut off. It only turns on when you kill a Jotun. So basically, you have two main timers. Every time night comes, you have to defend your village, and periodically a Jotun enters the world, and they're beelining it for your village. And when I first started playing it, I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do because I couldn't find the Jotun. They're like way out yonder, and like I'm not strong enough to go to those areas or whatever. And so I just kind of was waiting around, and then eventually it said like the Jotun's in your village. And I was like, shit. So I ran back to my village, and he destroyed my tree of life.
Okay.
Because I was like, well, I gotta time this better. Then I guess I have to like. Because it gives you little periodical notifications. Like when the Jotun enters, it tells you. And then when it gets close to your village, it tells you. And so I figured out once it tells me it's close, I'm supposed to go hunt for it. Because it's still not on my map yet.
Okay.
Even close to my village, I have to go pretty far out to hunt for this guy. Right? So like even that is like tough.
Yeah.
So those are the couple of complaints I have. Like the action is pretty darn fun. I started off with the bow and arrow. And I was struggling. But I wanted to do bow and arrow because I like doing the bow and arrow range thing.
Right.
And I was like, and then I watched like a video or whatever, and the dudes were slicing with the sword. So I switched to the sword, and the game became like way easier for me. And also the durability, for some reason, lasts about 6 times longer on a sword versus a bow.
Wait, so
And
your
by
bows
6, I'm
break?
not exaggerating.
Your bows break?
Well, everything has a durability, and you have to go back to your base to repair it.
Oh, okay.
And it's weird too, bro. Like, it's just little weird things. Like, once the sword breaks or once the bow breaks, it de-equips it from you. So if you go back
'Cause
to your
broke.
village, yeah, but usually like once you repair it, it's back in your hand again.
Yeah.
It's literally off your body. So like what happened is like I'd be fighting around my base, protecting my village, and my bow breaks. Oh shoot! I'll run back to like the guy to repair, and I go back to fight. I'm just punching him. And I'm like, shit, what the heck's going on? It's not equipped. So I had to like open up my menu, scroll over to my character screen, go to my bag, click equip, and now it's back on my character while my tree's getting ate up. So it's like, dude, that's so weird. Why does it, once it break, completely de-equip from my guy? I have to repick what slot I wanted to go in because I had because you have like, weapon slots.
Yeah.
So I had to put it back in the slot that I want. It was just the weirdest little tiny
Yeah.
nuisance.
Something that they could easily fix.
That's a simple thing. It's just weird little things that make it feel unpolished. But I will say, like, it is pretty fun slicing with your sword. It's fun collecting, even though I'm kind of lost on what items I'm supposed to collect. Some things I just had no clue about. Another thing, you can build these little ramps, and when you're wandering in the world, there's like these plateaus that you can't get up. And I did finally notice that there's a little emblem on the map that has like a ramp symbol. it looks like a tree trunk, but supposedly that's a ramp symbol. I didn't know that. And I was like, okay, so that's how I get up on the plateaus. But then when you're up on the plateaus, there's even like tinier plateaus. And I would run around that. I was like, there's no ramp. I have no idea. And there'd be like an item up there. I'm like, I'm clearly supposed to get up there.
Yeah.
Maybe it just triggers later in the game, so I just would forget about it. Well, it doesn't. You can just go to one of the vendors and buy something called a ramp. And then go over there and just place it down and go up on top.
Instead of building
instead of building one. So like, just things that you would think you think I'd get a recipe and I could build it.
Right.
And do that. No, you just simply buy it from the vendor for some wood. And then it's an instant drop. One thing I will say is when you harvest things, it's instant.
Okay.
So when you go to a tree, even like a full-size tall tree, you just press X once, it's dead, and you collect everything immediately.
Oh, so you don't got to hack away.
You don't got
to
okay. Like a little timer going around.
Yeah.
You just press it. So you just like running through the world, flap, just collecting, and you feel like you're in a mad dash rush. Like you just feel like it because the timer's coming.
I guess you gotta. It's gotta be quick like that so that you can efficiently just
exactly
and then get back.
Exactly. And then I played a game called Omni, and it was like I thought it was cool when I saw the trailer, but it's not cool.
It's ass.
It's not good. I didn't like it at all. It's like
what was it on PlayStation or
Xbox Game Pass?
Oh, okay.
So I was like, I'm so glad I didn't spend money on this. Yeah. I was like, I'm so glad I didn't spend money on this game. Because I was feeling a little bit disappointed with Midgard.
Okay.
Like I told you, it's not completely a fail. There's something that I do like about it that are fun. Like I'd probably play it again.
Yeah.
But the whole confusion aspect, like I'm not sure necessarily what I'm supposed to do. The rushed nature of the game, where like I feel rushed.
Right.
Just little things like that make it like a little bit of a turnoff.
Gotcha.
But it's not a terrible game. Like it's a decent game. It's fun. It's just trying to do a lot of things. I wish it would more so focus on one thing or another. So I was like, dang, I kind of spent a little money on Midgard. I'm glad I didn't spend money on this other one that looked good, because it did kind of look good in the trailer.
Yeah.
But it was just basically like a puzzle game. There's like no talking. There's like no information. They drop you into like this world, and you're just kind of running around, and you're kind of just like intuitively clicking on things and moving forward through the map in the world.
Okay.
And you come into like another region of the world, and you kind of have like these little things you just figure out, you collect, and it kind of like makes sense. But the puzzles aren't that fun. They're very boring. They're kind of bland. Just wasn't fun. So I was just feeling bored by it. So I hammered that, and then finally Ascent came along, and I was actually hoping that since it was Game Pass, you would have been on top of it too. So I could have asked you what you thought of it. But Ascent is basically like a cyberpunk twin stick shooter.
Okay.
So you're looking down at your guy, isometric,
right,
and it's a cyberpunk world. You're like a cyberpunk character. You have like biometrics attached to your body or whatnot, and you're just like twin sticking it. So you're walking around with one, and then like you're aiming with the other, and then you're shooting. But it has like some abilities, so it's like part twin stick, part like action RPG, like Diablo. And I'll say the world is incredibly gorgeous, really beautiful. Like, and these guys, I commend them, the developers of this game. They really clearly, painstakingly, tirelessly detailed this world incredibly. There's so much depth and character in the world, like trash everywhere, wear and tear. It looks lived in. It's just incredible. I'm really shocked. I'm like, man, every one of those things is an art design. I'm just like blown away, really blown away by what they did when it comes to building their world, and then just how pretty it looks too. So it's not just like, well thought out. They use like, it's high end. It's like with ray tracing and 4K. It's Xbox Series X enhanced and X enhanced.
Right.
So like it looks absolutely stunning, and it's kind of fun because you're doing the twin stick shooting, but it's not like that fun. Like it's kind of fun, but it's not like that much fun. And so I tried to get back, go in and out of it. Like once I kind of felt a little bored by it, I'll switch to like origami, because that game's pretty fun. Yeah. But once like I've done like 3 or 4 stealth missions, I kind of get bored of that too. So like I might go back to Ascent.
Yeah.
The whole quick play thing,
So you haven't found anything that just has drawn you in.
Right.
Like Death's Door has.
That I was just like, I'm stuck. You remember last week, like that's all you played? I was like, yeah I just was on that because it was so good. Right. Like I haven't found something like that yet.
Gotcha.
Which I was hoping, which we'll talk about later, because August is coming up.
Yeah.
That's something like, Kenna would have been like that next game that was like that.
Right.
But so I'm still kind of hunting. So I'm playing a few decent good games. Nothing amazing. Just a few decent games. And they're all decent enough that I want to kind of keep playing them, but like in bits and pieces. So like that's been my gaming week, man. What about you?
That's cool. Yeah, so remember last week I had talked about wanting to play, I believe, like Forager on like the Steam console or something like that. I had mentioned that. Yeah, so
that released I think
was
on PlayStation just recently.
Forager?
Yeah, Forager.
Oh, okay. Well, I happened to find it on Game Pass.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
So
it
I
is
was
on Game
like,
Pass.
oh, damn, it's on here. Well, I'll just try it out, because I think I beat Plague's Tale. I don't know if did I tell you that already?
No.
Okay.
I assume you would have because you were really close, you said.
Right,
last
I was
week.
super close, so I finally got to the end of
Like, so
Plague's
how
Tale.
close were you really? Were you really close? You said you were
nah,
like on
I
chapter
was
14
still-
or something. Like, I feel like I'm close.
I had hit, I think last time I had talked about it, I hit like chapter 15 or something like that. 15
and that
or
wasn't
16.
close still?
Nah, it was still like, I think it goes up to, I believe, I want to say 18 or 19, something like that.
Wow.
But they got it like a little bit longer because you had to do a little bit more.
I see.
And then you get down to the last boss fight. And I thought the boss fight was actually interesting. It wasn't like super challenging, but you couldn't really like, narrowly escape stuff. You had to be like fully in the clear in order to keep on going and stuff like that. So it took me a couple of tries and rotations because only get one. And then, you got to go. And, like, throughout the whole game, they always gave you, like, a second fail-safe option. If you created it, like, if you crafted it, you had a fail-safe to get something off of you, like the rats off of you or the enemy off of you. But it's, like, 100% a stealth game.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? But it does give you room for error. You know what I mean? You can,
Yeah, see,
you can throw something
origami,
down
there
and
isn't
down.
really any room for error, man.
Right,
Although I do have the invisibility button, so that's kind of a room for error now, finally.
Oh,
but
just pop up
because I could just kind of pop it and run away.
Okay,
which is kind of a way to get out of there. But originally I was like, dude, man, like you can't even look, there's no combat.
Yeah.
Like I can stealth kill, but if I get locked, I can't enter, my fighting mode like Assassin's Creed. You're toast.
Yeah, like Plague still has combat that you can use your sling.
Right.
And like I said before, you can improve your sling.
If you get caught, you can still fight your way out of it, right?
Yeah, if somebody runs up on you, you can try to throw a rock or throw some of the other things that you've crafted to try to distract them and get them, and make them take off their helmet so you can hit them in the head or whatever, different things like that. And then if they actually catch you, you got things that you can get away. But in the last boss fight, none of that stuff works for getting away. So if you get caught by the rats, you're done. So it was an interesting story, and I actually enjoyed the game. Like I didn't mind watching the cutscenes and stuff like that. I definitely thought that the story was longer than I thought it was, or the story ended up being longer than what I thought it was. So that was cool. But I finally ended up finishing, and then.
So is it like good, amazing?
I thought that the game was actually pretty good.
So it's like
I don't
great?
think it was like, I would give it like a.
So it's
like
great.
a solid like 8 or something like that.
So good. So just good.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It wasn't like a 9 or a 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was cool. I mean, I wish that there had been, more things that you might have been able to do with like the rats and stuff like that. But all in all, I thought it was a solid game. Like if you guys have not played Plague's Tale and you got a little time, if you got PS Plus, by all means, go and play it. I don't know if it's on Game Pass.
It's on Game Pass.
It's on Game Pass, then play it. Like it's worth a little bit of time playing it. And it looks good. It doesn't look trash. You know what I mean? So I beat that.
Cool.
And then like I said, I found Forager was on Game Pass, so I started playing that for a bit of time. And I like the pace of it. Sometimes it's things populate a little too quickly because then it's like, damn, like I got so much to do. I kind of have I've come across this issue where like, so you have like a talent tree, like a skills tree or whatever, where you can get like access to certain things every time you level up. You're able to like, increase like your technology or different things like that. You can make it so like the rocks that you mine give you all the rocks give you coal instead of like chopping down wood and then going to burn it in a furnace or whatever, and getting coal or having to find
so
a
rocks
specific
give you coal.
Yeah,
that's
so
cool.
Rocks will normally just give you stone. That's how it starts off.
Oh, but
And
you
then,
get an ability.
then
a
yeah, and
skill,
then you get
I
like
see.
a skill, and then now you can get coal and everything.
So the
Because
skills are pretty exciting.
There's some coal like stones that you can get, and you'll get specifically just coal from that.
Yeah.
Whatever. But then it allows you, because you got gold, you have iron, you know what I mean? So
Of
you can
course.
mine all that and get coal from it.
Because it's like a survival. Like
Yeah,
Don't Starve,
it's
right?
like a I don't even want to say a builder. I mean, it's a builder, but you're not building like, you're not actually like hand building buildings or anything like that, but you're building windmills. And
Are you just trying to make
sprinklers,
it
all
like
that
how many
stuff.
days you can? So just like Don't Starve, like how long can you survive for?
It seems like there is no end to it. It
So
seems like
yeah,
just
so
an
it's just
infinite
survival,
game.
just going to steal as long as you can go, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
but there's there's saving every time you go into the menu for your items. So if you die, you just start back where you were and keep going. So it's like
that's
an infinite
interesting.
running game.
That's different
Like
than Don't
there's
Starve.
no end to
Okay.
it. Yeah, it's not survival like Don't Starve, but there's enemies out
It's
there.
survival, but it's not like a roguelike survival, right? Yeah.
Nah. So like there's enemies out there, slimes,
Interesting.
skeletons, certain things like cows or like, like bulls or whatever that you might come across. And then you can kill those, you can attack those. Apparently you can destroy rocks with like any weapon. So like I had a bow and I was increasing the bow for like no reason, just because I had the materials to
knocking
do
rocks
it.
out.
And then all of a sudden I was like, let me try to use it. And then I shot it and I was like, oh damn, you can take out trees and rocks with this. And because it was
cool.
it was so much higher than my axe, I was just like plowing through shit. So you could probably get a sword, and then the sword would probably get like extreme amounts of damage. You could probably chop through rocks and stuff like that with swords.
Yeah, see, in Midgard, when you die, your run's over. You have to start from scratch again.
Okay.
That's why it says more
There's
like
no
Don't
save on
Starve.
that.
Yeah, there's no save. I mean, you could save within your run,
Yeah.
but there's no like going back to your save file.
Right.
But, like I can save and quit and come back, which is what I wish Returnal had, because then I can when I come back to the game, I can just start from where I left off.
Okay.
But once you die in the world, then your whole run's over. But it's cool because there's kind of like a season pass, like in Destiny. When you get a certain amount of XP, you like level up.
Yeah.
There's one of these in this game too, and it's like just free off top.
Oh, okay.
And like one of the coolest things is when you hit level 2, which is like basically you start at level 1. When you hit level 2, they give you a basic starter pack, which gives you a pickaxe and an axe right from the get go.
Oh, okay.
So you can just immediately start hacking trees and getting stones.
Yeah.
And like immediately build a weapon, build some gear.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool. And as you level that up, they give you new additional things to get. So that is cool.
Okay.
So there's a reason to like play through and play again because you're getting experience every playthrough.
Right.
So
yeah, so this one you just keep on going. There's not really a way that I've seen that like a solid way of like increasing your base health. You have to find like these little like balls, like these orbs or something like that will allow you to increase a stat. So it'll allow you to either increase your stamina, increase your health, or one other thing. I don't remember what the other thing was, but yeah, so I still haven't figured out how to use magic. Apparently there's magic in there, but I just don't know how you do it. So yeah, you just harvest like all the resources that are on your island, make enough money to be able to buy a new island to appear, and
cool.
then you just build bridges to move to that island, and you keep on expanding the area until
see.
you can't expand anymore.
I
Which
see.
I don't know how far it goes, but they start requiring a
So
large.
it's almost like
amount
a
of money.
SimCity kind of thing then. You just keep building and
Yeah,
building
and then
building.
eventually you can get things to like auto pick up. Like you start off with like fish traps, and then they would just sit in the water, and then once they pop, you can walk over to it and open it up. But as you start opening up islands and stuff like that, you might be lucky enough to come across a chest that would give you a fish net. So then every time the fish trap pops, it just drops the item and then it collects it, and then you can eventually start making like vaults, like storage containers, and then you place the storage containers down, and then you can place an item, any item you want in there, and then if the fish trap is like say you want to collect fish or something like that, you put that item in your vault. Every time the fish trap pops, it just goes into the vault. It doesn't come into your possession. And then you can like make cooked fish from like a furnace, and then and that stuff just piles up, taking the fish from the vault. So you don't have to take the things to it to drop it off and then come back and collect it later. So it makes it a little bit easier to kind of run on its own, and then you just get it when you get it. But there's some things that don't work that easy, and and there's certain things that kind of hold you up. But I think it's like a fun game to like mess around with.
Yeah.
So it's not like I don't think you can beat it. So
yeah, I was gonna ask you how you feel about that,
go.
like knowing that there isn't no end in sight. I guess it's fun just getting bigger and bigger. So how big you can get your world.
Yeah, I think it's just more of like, can you make like an industry,
Yeah,
out of
that's what
this
it
thing?
sounds like. That's what it sounds
Can you
like,
just have
yeah.
everything producing and collecting, and then all you do is just reap the benefits, because you don't have to go and collect stuff anymore. It's just there on you, and you just use all the other stuff. So, it's one of those things that I'll probably just keep messing with from time to time when I'm like not doing anything. But I am going to stop playing it and move on to an actual game that's like, has an ending, a beginning and an ending. You know what I mean? This has no story at all in it. There's nothing behind the scenes or anything like that. I did play some more Days Gone as well. So I think I'm getting closer to the end on that. It's hard to really tell because it doesn't give you like a definitive thing. But I got to the point where I can't go back south again. So, I was
So you got
in the
to
north.
some point.
You start off in the north, and then you get access to the south, but then you don't get access to the north. And then after you do a certain amount of activities in the south, then they tell you you have to go back to the north, and you don't have access to the south. So all of that stuff takes place or whatever. So I think I'm close to finding an ending, but I'm not sure. So maybe I'll probably play some more of that and then find an ending.
See if you can get to that Slade.
Yeah, see if I can slay that, and then I might try out Ascent, but I don't know. I did see that it was a twin stick shooter. And that was like okay for me.
I would try it out.
Like, pull me
it's
in.
free because it's free.
Yeah,
but I'd be curious to hear how you feel about it because I just felt a little bored by it. Like, just give you an idea, is like I was going through the missions, and when you get to the point in the game where it kind of opens the world up for you with their side missions, my thought was like, shoot, man, I don't have the patience for side missions.
Gonna do side
I'm just gonna try to blow through the campaign because I don't feel like this game isn't fun enough for me to want to play side missions. At least? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's well voice acted too. So there's certain polished things about it that are like high quality.
Yeah.
Like I said, the world, the artistry, and the characters are well voice acted, and it's even pretty well written. The story isn't that interesting, but the writing is not like childish writing. It feels like very adult, very high quality writing, and really well voice acted. The characters are believable.
Yeah.
It's just not that fun. It's kind of fun, but not like that fun. So
okay. So yeah, I also did. I was like going through my library on my PlayStation, and I saw that they had like a Final Fantasy 14 online free PS5 upgrade. So I just decided to download it because I don't know if it's like, is it free or is it just an upgrade? Like you need the actual game in order to be able to play that one. So I was going to check it out, but Final Fantasy 14 is I think around $20 on the PlayStation Network at this moment. So I was kind of contemplating like doing that because I do want to play a multiplayer game. But I may attempt to try to play it on the Xbox, if I could talk my father-in-law into playing it, because I have nobody to play it with. And that's, multiplayer is supposed to be more fun with multiple people.
I will say, too, like, Midgard's up to 10 players. I do think it would be a lot of fun. Like, if you hopped in it, like, if we were playing that together, I think it'd be more fun. I think it'd be a lot of fun with a friend.
Yeah.
But, because you're right. Things with multiplayer are quite a bit better.
Yeah. So, other than that, I re-downloaded Let It Die. Do you remember that?
Oh, that old Dark Souls clone or whatever.
Yeah.
That weird one.
Yeah. So I didn't get a chance to play it because it took like the downloading and then like a large install or whatever that I had to wait on. So I just kept playing Days Gone. But I did one of my boys, Brahms, shout out to him. I had mentioned it to him and I told him to try it out because it's free. So why not? You know what I mean? But that was one of the games that I had found interesting. That we had seen at the PlayStation Experience like a couple years ago that we went to. And so I told him if he checked it out and he liked it, let me know, and then I'll just download it and then I'll play it a little bit. So he has like a challenge of my guy versus his, whenever it dies on the floor and he goes to that floor, Because do you remember how it worked?
He wants to see if he can beat that floor or whatever?
Well, I was just, because I was telling him to play it. You know
right.
what I mean? Like, I was recommending it. So I was just saying, I was telling him how, like, whatever floor you may get to, if you die on that floor, unless you retrieve your body, that body just runs around menacingly killing whoever it can, and it acquires points. And if you can go back and retrieve that body, you get all those points. So I was saying I was gonna play it so that I could, have it so that my character has some on there. So that if he happens to run on that floor, he may come across my character at some point, and and have a little challenge or whatever.
I'd be surprised if there's anyone left in the world playing that game, man.
I don't know.
So maybe he would find your
There's
character.
still updates. There's still updates going on the game. So,
that's crazy.
There's probably like a very small.
That's crazy.
Community.
Yeah.
I probably have to check like Reddit or something like that to see if there's like a Let It Die community. Or something like that. So there was that. So I'm gonna attempt to see if I can play Final Fantasy 14 online.
I would just say be
PS5
careful, man.
upgrade.
Be careful on the console. You're probably gonna be a little irritated at times with the controls.
Oh, for Final Fantasy 14?
Yeah.
Have you played it or something?
Yeah. Well,
You
I played
have
it
it?
a long time ago when it first launched.
Oh, you got like a free trial or something like that?
It might have been a beta, or it might have been I can't even remember, bro.
Okay.
But I played it a long time ago when it first came out. I don't think I ever played a Realm Reborn though when they remade it. So I don't know how much better the new version is.
Uh-huh.
But when I first played it, it was okay. I was kind of enjoying it.
Yeah.
But I was getting really annoyed by the targeting system. So just because it's designed to be clicked, not manual. Like
I just
New
kind of
World
wanted
is.
to see what all the hoopla was about, with everybody following after it. I just don't know if everybody's just playing it on PC or if they are actually playing it on the console.
It's a little bit more hardcore too because you have to so you might need to press a trigger to bring up another menu of abilities.
Yeah.
And then
I'm used to
a
that.
different trigger for another menu, because there's 14 abilities, dude. It's not like just a few.
Okay.
So you kind of got to keep track about which trigger has which ability.
Right.
It gets a little overwhelming.
Okay.
So just know, because it's meant for a PC. It's meant to have, a PC has 45 key.
Yeah.
So they're trying to transfer that to console, and it's very difficult to do.
Probably the reason why they've never converted WoW into.
Which is what we were talking about before. Which is why I was always I think New World's perfect for console. Of course, Mark burst that bubble, but I still feel that way. Because it's so. To me, it's weird that they hadn't even thought about console supposedly, because there's literally only 3 or 4 abilities. That's it.
Yeah.
You don't need any more than a controller would be perfect.
Right.
It's so perfect. And then it's manually targeting. It's so perfect. Maybe because they had controller in mind, they did it that way.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that lines up with console so well too.
Over.
Yeah.
You would think it would port over.
If you were building your game with the controller in mind, then why wouldn't you then just naturally consider consoles? I don't know. That's weird. Yeah. But anyways.
But yeah. So that'll be one of those games that if I hear a lot of good things about it, that'll be like a Steam Deck purchase or something like that. Maybe I'll be able to. Maybe I'll be able to purchase it and play it on my MacBook or whatever. Try it out. Until I eventually get the Steam Deck, as one guy had commented in there that you wouldn't be able to get that shit until 2023 or something like that. But
I don't know.
I
It
will
means
put my
second quarter isn't the end of next year, but I'm unsure. I wasn't sure if it got worse since I've reserved it.
Well, he was saying that it was it had gotten pushed way further back. When you had tried it, you got in at the second quarter.
That's what I was wondering.
Maybe it's further back.
If it's just further back.
If I go on there and check it,
right.
At some point I'm going to try to pre-order it, and then I'll see how far it goes, and I'll let you guys know how far it's taken back. But so that was all I played. Just dabbled in a couple of things here and there. Was kind of just looking for the next game I was going to get into. I'm still feeling extra reluctant to even get into Legion.
It's still saying quarter 2.
Oh, okay.
So if you got on right now, it says quarter 2.
Quarter 2, yeah. So I'm still kind of feeling reluctant about getting into Legion, Watch Dogs Legion. I want to.
You
do
are,
it,
huh?
But, I'm kind of
it hasn't
not
quite there yet for an open world like that.
I was this close to just playing Cyberpunk, but I still want to wait on the damn
Dude,
PS5 upgrade.
I'm this close every day to playing Cyberpunk, bro.
So I think,
and part of me is wondering if that's what I'll play in August, because there's nothing really to play, and we're gonna be busy. When that PS5 upgrade comes out, I think we're gonna be busy with a lot of other games too. So part of me is wondering should I just jump in now when there's no games to play, when there's a drought?
Yeah.
But yeah, I know every day, bro, I'm close to playing Cyberpunk
I've been hearing
too, man.
news about Cyberpunk, they're working on the DLCs and stuff like that, and they're trying to do some stuff. And I guess one of the developers was getting on live stream a lot, and saying something was coming soon or whatever. But if it ain't the PS5 upgrade, don't fucking talk to me. Like, just play your damn game.
Constantly people
like,
make
just
videos
make
on
the damn
Cyberpunk, dude.
upgrade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, come on.
I don't know what they're doing, man.
Just increase the graphics and make it the PS5 version.
I know, man. I don't know.
Give me the 60 frames.
I don't know what
and leave
they're
it
doing.
alone. Like, it's so
You can
annoying.
get 60, I think, on it already.
Yeah, but
It's
it's
like
just,
forcing
I want
it.
the whole PS5.
You want the legitimate
upgrade
PS5
thing on it.
system, yeah.
And that shit better be fucking free, CD Projekt Red.
Sure, it will be. I hope.
I think it's said.
I hope it will be. Yeah.
They may not be on some bullshit. But anyways, that is it for the games we have played this week. So let us get into the quick shots. The first one we have is apparently Sony is just trying to shut down the Vita like completely for sure now, because it looks like they are no longer allowing any certifications for games. From this, from
No more new games.
Some point earlier this week, like maybe Tuesday or Wednesday forward. Nobody can get any certifications for any games on the PS Vita. So now what you have is what you have. The store is still available, so people can purchase games all they want that have already been made, but there will be no new developments.
That's nuts.
For it.
I didn't
It's
realize that. So yeah, July 20th was the last day in the history of the Vita that a new game will ever arrive.
Yeah,
on that
wasn't
console.
Colin working on one? Colin Moriarty?
Yeah, but I think he had already released it, but I thought he was already working on one that was going to be the sequel.
Yeah.
So maybe he missed out on the Vita.
Maybe.
But like what's funny is like this was kind of like a half reversal then, because when they first announced they were shutting down the Vita store,
Yeah.
one of my first concerns was like, well, that sucks. You just sent out dev kits and then they reversed it and said, okay, we're not going to shut down the Vita store. But really, it still screwed devs because they still had by July 20th, the same date they had already set to release a new game.
Yeah.
So it still forced the developers to crunch and try to get their game, if they wanted to release it on Vita,
Right.
by the 20th of July, which is, in my opinion, is rank. While you selling a couple guys in their garage a dev kit, you're selling them that, and then 1 week later announcing, oh, but you only have 3 months to make your game. Like, that's rank to me. And so I didn't realize that. I thought that there were people, I thought the store was staying open in the sense that you could still release games on it too, but you can't. So
yeah, to cater
that's
to that
it.
small, group of people that's still playing it like that.
It's only, I guess, just to buy what's already there. Which, what now, in my mind, like, then what is the point?
Right.
Like,
You might as well just close
if I
the
could
store.
just go on Vita and I'll just buy what I want to buy and that's it now, then yeah, what is the point of having the store open?
But I guess it's
Might
I
as well
guess it's
close
just
it.
like it's probably not really like maintained a lot. So it's probably like one of those things that can just sit there and be like a small amount of passive income, for the business. You know what I mean? If people happen to buy a used Vita and then they want to, buy some new games for it or something
very
like that.
small passive. But like, but I agree. It's like, what's the point of having the store if you can't add new games? What's the point?
And I feel like at this point now, because the Vita's so old, that people would probably just buy the Vita and just mod it.
Yeah.
And then get every game.
It's
for
just
free
going to be
that they would want.
an emulation device, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's just funny. This also kind of lines up right when like the Steam Deck was announced.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
Yeah.
Sony's completely given up on handheld, but then Steam Deck comes out and there's this huge amount of excitement over handheld. It's just like Sony, man.
And they just
You're
like
kind of
made sure
messing
we
up.
killed it. Yep.
You're kind of messing up a bit.
Yeah, it is what it is, though. So it's like it's a bummer for those people that were working on some, because I on
Totally.
this article from PSU
Mm-hmm.
.com or whatever, it was saying showing tweets from different game developers that were saying, hey, we were working on something, but that time has come and gone, so it won't be on the Vita. But
Super sad.
maybe they'll be able to slightly alter it and get it out on Steam or something like that, for the PC.
Yeah, maybe the Steam Deck will be the savior in that sense because it's like the handheld.
Yeah, hopefully
So-
it's not too much like recoding or anything like
Right.
that. Hopefully you can just be able to transfer it, to a different, thing to be able to develop it for that.
Yeah, because
And
what
get them out
people
there.
like about the Vita is that it's portable indie gaming.
Right.
So the Steam can easily take that mantle up. And
Right.
it's just Sony's loss. In my opinion, it's just Sony's loss.
So yeah, and then on to the next quick shot. It looks like Netflix and Pokemon got a thing going. We've already seen I think Netflix has the old school Pokemon shows and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
very popular
On there, and people are watching it.
They're
and
very
stuff.
successful.
I think my kids have even watched it
Yeah,
at some point.
they're very
on
successful on Netflix.
So, and apparently the Pokemon Pikachu, Detective Pikachu or whatever, was slightly popular enough for them to want to try more live action Pokemon again. I know we had talked about it before when this topic had been brought to the table, and you mentioned it. And I believe me and you both think that the Detective Pikachu movie wasn't that great, but we think that it wasn't that great for other reasons,
right?
Opposite reasons or whatever. So you didn't think it was great because of why? Well,
I didn't think it was great because it wasn't the Pokemon movie that I wanted. I wanted the trainer battles, the standard Pokemon.
Okay.
And they went a completely different direction by just using the Pokemon as characters, rather than what they actually are, battling little battle monsters.
So you wanted the movie to be more about the trainers and then them utilizing the Pokemon.
Yes, and battles.
Instead of it being a kind of combination of Pokemon, one Pokemon and...
Yeah, and I didn't like them giving Pikachu a voice, in a deep voice at that. I didn't... That's more minor, but I didn't care really for that.
Okay.
And because Pikachu's adorable and cute, so I kind of wanted him to stay that way. And I just didn't find the story that interesting. I kind of was falling asleep during that movie.
Okay.
So
yeah, I didn't really care for Detective Pikachu because of the acting. I didn't mind Ryan Reynolds being Pikachu and them kind of giving that when you call something, somebody's name is tiny, but he's big as fuck. You know what I mean? It's just kind of a play on that.
Yeah.
It's this cute little thing, but, he's got this sass and, and whatnot, something else.
The only difference I'll say to that is that's fine when they're just introducing the character. It's funny. But I've grown accustomed to who Pikachu is.
But you've also never had a voice on Pikachu. So it's
just he says his name. He has a voice.
Yeah, that tiny little, that little tiny voice.
Yeah, and it changes. Pikachu, that is his voice. He changes the inflection. He draws it out. Pika. That's all. That's his voice. To me, that's Pikachu's voice. Mm-hmm. And so I've grown accustomed. So when you love something the way it is, it's different. If they just introduced a new Pokemon and it was big and it had a tiny little voice, I laugh at that. Mm-hmm. But it's when you take something that's already. So I agree with you, but I'm saying when you take something that's already beloved for one way, I don't like them changing that. I didn't enjoy that.
Okay. But yeah, so apparently Netflix enjoyed at least the Pokemon aspect of the actual Pokemon aspect of Detective Pikachu.
The tech, right?
The
real
the
live
fact that
tech,
they're
live action.
The Pokemon are out in the real world and stuff like that. The way they looked, and I thought that they actually looked pretty awesome.
I agree with that.
I thought that all of that was dope. Looking at these characters in the real world.
Too.
I think we had got a glimpse of Mewtwo and some other stuff like that in that Detective Pikachu movie. So the fact that they're creating a series now, that they're already in the progress of creating a series for Netflix. I kind of have it could go either way for me. I hope that they get people that can actually act good in this movie so that it's really enjoyable. As far as the Pokemon, I think the Pokemon are gonna win anyways. You know what I'm saying? They looked good in the movie, so if they keep that same type of technology that they use for the movie and do it in the show, it's gonna look good in that way. But the thing for me that would make it more enjoyable is if the story and the actors actually were good, and I don't want them to just give me the same Ash Ketchum storyline.
So what I'll say to that is they can go in one of two directions, I think. They can go a story route. And, if you're going to go a story route, then you need great writing. Because you don't just need good actors, you need great writing.
Right.
Right? So it's if you can give the best actor terrible writing, it's going to come off bad. An actor can only do so much with the writing and screenplay that they're given. So you can go that route. And then I'd agree, you really need to make sure you have a great new story. Not the same old thing, but a new story, good actors, yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. Or you can go in what I feel is what I would just want is just the Pokemon trainer route. Whenever I watched the original Pikachu or the original Pokemon TV show, I didn't care much about the acting. I cared more about the battles, the different Pokemon he comes across, seeing him discover new Pokemon and what can those Pokemon do, like what are their
That's
capabilities.
all part of the story, though. Like, all that's the story. The reason why he got into the battles, the reason he's doing what he's doing, or whatever. That's all part of the story.
For me, the story is his journey, him leaving on his journey. But what he finds along the way, I mean, it's a facet of the story. But you know what I'm saying? Like, the story to me is like, like I said, it's a facet of the story. But it's more so the story is like, what does he do along the way? So who did he meet? What trainers did he get? But that's not really acting to me. The story isn't really acting to me. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because you emphasize acting. So I'm saying, like, I care more about, the premise. So I guess the premise is what matters to me more.
Okay.
I guess I'll say that. So more so than the story, the premise, the idea of a world that's full of unique creatures that are just being discovered and going out and collecting those and then battling with them. That premise is what I really liked about Pokemon.
Okay.
I thought the story was shallow.
So you just want to see people battling with Pokemon. You don't want to follow a specific person.
Yeah, like to me, the Pokemon story is a very shallow story. It's just a boy going out for an adventure.
Yeah.
The story, that's very shallow. There's nothing complex about that story.
Right.
It's not like the Green Knight that just came out, right? That has this very complex journey of chivalry, kindness, generosity, really everything forcing into that notion. It's just like a very shallow idea. A boy goes out into the world to collect Pokemon.
Yeah.
But what's cool about it is they battle. Like, to me, like, I like that premise a lot. That's what I like about the Pokemon games. That's what I like about the Pokemon show. And so I would just prefer, I think it'd be cool to see that live action. I think that'd be a cool idea.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It would be cool to see Pokemon battles and stuff like that with live action, but I feel like that's the reason why, to me, Pokemon is so like whatever. Like, I've played one, I've played them all because it is the same story. So if I can actually get a legit ass story that would draw me in, like the things that happen in between the battles. Not every episode needs to have a battle for me, and it doesn't need to be all battles. Like, I could have, all of this, going in steps, like maybe 2 episodes, are the journey to a location to battle or something like that. And then you see the battle, and then, something happens and he moves on to another area or something other of a story or whatever. That's what I'm hoping for. It's just like an actual story of some substance for the Pokemon franchise. So that's what I'm looking for. But I understand, like, the wanting to see the battles and stuff like that. Like, yeah, you want to see that. You want to see that at least. I mean, we didn't really get much of a battle.
Any of that in Pikachu
Pokemon
Detective.
I mean, we had Pokemon going against each other.
They had like it was like in the background, you saw it, but it wasn't like a part of the story, as you would say.
Yeah, it wasn't like the main thing
right.
or something like that. Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, so. But the Pokemon live action series, we don't know exactly when it's coming out, but it's interesting that they're doing it, and I hope it turns out good. Hopefully it's at least to both of our likings. If it is, then
Well, I think one thing's for sure, we both want Pokemon battles.
Yeah, for sure.
Pikachu Detective didn't deliver on that.
Yeah.
So if they just go shallow, like the show, I'm happy. But of course, if they can somehow find a way to have a great story, like Game of Thrones is a very deep story, then who wouldn't like that too? I would love that as well.
I mean,
I'm just saying I want what I like it for.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to compare it to like the movie, the first movie that had came out with like Mewtwo, and they were giving like the background story of Mewtwo and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That's like the type of story, type of substance that I would want. Like there's a beginning and then an ending. It's not just battles. I want like a full-on story of some type. That was just different from him going to an island and then conquering an island with all the gyms and stuff like that. There was like the story of Mewtwo in that movie. So that's the type of thing I'm talking about.
Like a side story?
Well, it would be the main story in this, but yeah.
So battling wouldn't be like in a gym. It'd be like out in the world because you're learning about Mewtwo's story. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't need the trainer go to a gym, try to challenge the gym leader type of story. I mean, he could do one as like, oh, it starts off as that, and then something else happens, and then he veers off to go to this or whatever, you know. He encounters something and then goes on a quest to find a mythical, you know, Pokemon or something like that, you know, that type of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
But
that one probably wouldn't be as exciting to me. I mean, I like the progression, the trainer progression more. So I don't know if I would like that, but as long as there's battles, I'd be happy to. So that helps. But anyways.
Yeah. So for the next quick shot, it seems like Activision Blizzard is kind of like their house is on fire a little bit right now. It seems like there's a lot of issues going on over there. There seems to have been quite a few complaints, some lawsuits filed for like discrimination, sexual harassment. And there seems to be like a lot of employees that are behind this, enough for them to have gotten together and walked out on Blizzard. And they did this Wednesday, I believe, and last Wednesday. And so I'm hoping that all this gets resolved. But do you think that this is like, I mean, obviously this has probably been going on for a long time, right? And we've seen a lot of people just slowly but surely leaving. I think one of the other problems was like the quality of life at work wasn't that great. So I don't know if it's like an issue with needing more vacation time or just, you know, better things around the office or whatnot. That's a big reason why people, you know, stay at their jobs, you know, is if it's got to be enjoyable at least to some extent.
Well, you don't at least don't hate going to work.
Right. Right. That's what makes it the worst, right? You get half-assed employees, you know, that come there and they're angry because they're there. You know what I mean? But it's work at the end of the day. So it's, you know, it can't be all peaches and cream, you know, you know, all the time. But anyways, do you think that this may spark like, I mean, I know Activision and Blizzard, you know, are one, but do you think they might try to change some things higher up? You know, maybe change like that could end up changing the aspects of like how Blizzard works. You know, all the shit that they're doing with the nickel and diming in World of Warcraft, or.
Well, it could, but I tend to think this could be the beginning of the end. Unfortunately, I'm a huge Blizzard game fan. You know, I am. Like I've played everything they've ever released, and I thought that everything they've released has been pretty darn good. They're like the industry standard on certain things. Like they're the industry standard on MMOs.
Yeah.
They're largely the industry standard on like arena shooters with Overwatch. They're like the industry standard with ARPGs with Diablo. Like all action RPGs kind of copy Diablo.
Yeah, I got
and
you.
Diablo just does it better. They're kind of the industry standard on quite a few things. Activision, I can kind of care less. Like they're more like Call of Duty guys.
Yeah.
Like they're okay. Like
I think it's just because Activision bought Blizzard, right?
Well, they partnered, but yeah, I think it was Activision buying Blizzard, but like it was like a partnership though. Right. So it's like Blizzard was able to keep their name. They added the name to the title. Blizzard kept their own offices, their own thing going, right? So it's like it was like a buying, but like it was a partnership buying more so.
Okay.
So Activision does like their own thing, like with the loot boxes, all the controversy. Activision's always been kind of hated by a lot of people, but the problem is everyone keeps buying their games. So what the F do they care? It's not gonna slow them down. Yeah, what do they care? Like, why do they? What would they care at all if you hate me if you're still buying my game?
Yeah,
right. The money is what they're bringing in. So Activision's always kind of seemed shady. The reason why I think like this is an issue, and that one thing I don't know if people are fully necessarily thinking about. It's no excuse, but I think oftentimes what happens in these companies, I think this happens all over the world. I think with every company, this probably happens at every big corporation. It just hasn't been found out. Is when people are very talented, you have like probably a certain few people in the company that are like really talented. Right. Like you probably owe them a lot. Like they come up with like all the great ideas. They're like the Steve Jobs of the world. Like not everyone's a Steve Jobs, but you have people in the company that are like the rock stars of the company.
Right.
These people, I think, tend to get lackadaisical with their morality. They end up, you know, taking advantage because they think they're, you know, they can walk on water now. No, they can't do nothing to me. I'm the lifeblood. They've been given certain privileges. They've been given certain privileges, and I think that these companies kind of are. They aren't, but they're in a rock and a hard place in the sense of, do we punish these guys and lose our lifeblood talent? Do we get rid of like our talent because they're crossing moral boundaries? Or do we try to brush it under the rug for the almighty dollar? And I think oftentimes these companies, unfortunately, they would rather keep their talent and profits. They value that more, I think, in my opinion, than morality, even though they probably should value morality more and hold their people to a better standard. But they let these people run rampant. And I think what you would see is if like there was like a coming out of these guys being fired, you would see probably the quality of their games and stuff start to go down. And that's probably the challenge. You might not, but you might see the quality of the game go down. And I think that's really the crux of the challenge for these companies is, do we fire our talent when they cross certain lines, or do we kind of like, turn a blind eye to it? And I think they end up turning a blind eye to it. And now it's coming out for everyone to see.
It's not being
and they're
tolerated
toast
anymore.
In general now.
Yeah.
So I think this should be like a cautionary tale. As hard as it may be, follow your rules. Kick these people out if they're nuisances.
Yeah,
if
cut
they're
that tree
harassing.
down before it gets
Cut that
too
tree
big.
down. Exactly. Don't let it control your company where you feel like you're enslaved to these people that are just like the lifeblood of your company. Get rid of it. Otherwise, your whole company. Because in my opinion, I feel like I've seen lots of big streamers, man, who like their business is Blizzard games.
Yeah.
Like that's their whole channel is Blizzard games. Asmongold kind of got lucky. He kind of did that whole for fun he was never intending it to be like legitimately switching over and forgetting about WoW, but he kind of did it, and now he has an avenue that he sees he's still popular in that isn't WoW.
Right.
So if he ever wanted to forsake the company because of this situation,
or if it ever bursts into flames, he can slowly slide over. And
slowly slide over. He has an avenue out. He had an escape route he kind of built by accident.
Right.
But what's weird to me also about this is in California and in most states with the law is when lawsuits are brought up, you probably know this, but when lawsuits are brought forward and brought to the forefront to a company, the state demands before any court is ever said is to enter mediation, right? Mediation always happens first, where the idea is the state is trying to say, figure this out so we don't have to have a whole court hearing, right?
Yeah, when papers are served, you have the option of mediation.
It's like,
that's there.
well, and on these ones with the state, it's you go into mediation immediately, like it happens. So that means that Blizzard and Activision knew about this lawsuit long before it ever became public record. And they decided to not settle in mediation.
Yeah, I mean, this article that I'm looking at from Wowhead or whatever, talking about the issue, just stated that the people, the employees at Blizzard, didn't like the response that Blizzard gave towards the harassment and the discrimination lawsuits that had been handed to them. So they were probably like, well, fuck it, we'll fight it in court. Like, so? Like,
they thought they would win.
Or some shit,
Blizzard Activision, I guess they assumed that they would win, right? Or else why would you not try to settle in mediation?
Yeah, so whatever the reaction was, which I don't know, but whatever that was, the employees were not happy. And so they're trying to push the envelope by saying, like, okay, well, you can have these, maybe these talented people, but you need a team to work under them in order to do the shit that they're doing. So
sure,
if we don't work, you don't get stuff done. You still need hands. You can't do it with 5 people.
Yeah, but Blizzard okayed like the time off. It's weird too.
What do you
mean? The Blizzard came out and says we support your walkout. Don't worry about it. Your hours will be covered or something along those lines. Something
they
real
gotta
stupid.
Save face.
Just real something stupid.
Yeah.
But to me, like the reason why I think, even if they thought that they weren't doing anything discriminatory, even if they thought that, it's like the Epic and Apple thing. The moment this thing goes to court, like everything's gonna spill out. Yeah. I bet you there's lots of companies, bro, who've done business and work, like Sony did with Epic, and like all the Sony stuff came out, right? What they're charging and all this stuff. We learned how they hate crossplay. Yeah. That all came out from the Epic versus Apple dispute. Right. Sony wasn't even part of that dispute, and yet it all came out because all the papers got, released to public record for every case.
And then I think it's like at the same time, right? Like, you might not have that many eyes on you about this issue, but you have this issue right here that is way bigger. So you're like, wow, while you're listening, I also had this,
Exactly.
this, and this grievance to air out.
Exactly.
So everybody
It's a
can
mess.
see it.
It's a total
you know?
mess. And in the digital social media era, it doesn't even matter. Like, it doesn't even matter if you weren't doing anything wrong. Like, there was something. So they've definitely done some things wrong, and then some things are going to be blown out of proportion and just attached to other things, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. Like the whole Bill. Did you see the Bill Cosby picture? There was one picture that got released of the Blizzard employees all posing in front of a big picture of Bill Cosby behind them.
Okay.
And that was supposed to solidify the whole rape jokes, because they have like rape jokes at the company that supposedly they were talking rape jokes.
Yeah.
And everyone saw them and go, see, look it, they're just making fun of rape. But the truth of the matter is that photo was taken in 2013, and Cosby didn't come into. We didn't know Cosby was a rapist or whatever until like 2015, 2016, when it was in the public mind.
Right.
So supposedly the guys came out and says, no, that wasn't rape. We were making fun of the hotel room we were in because it had like the weird like sweater vest, like carpeting and rugs. And supposedly some of those guys that were in that picture released pictures showing like, look it. And it did. It kind of basically perfectly matched. You know those things that Cosby were on the show? Perfectly matched. And they were just joking about that. But sorry, too late. It's already in the internet, man. And it's just going to fuel fire to what people already know went on there. Bad stuff.
Yeah.
And now it's just going to compound like a snowball. And you're done. I just think they're done, dude. I see, like I said, big YouTube channels who are all about WoW quitting. Like deleting their WoW characters and like quitting. I don't know how you bounce. Is there a way to bounce from this? Yeah, they're trying to make a stand against them, saying like, we can't support this company any longer.
Right.
But do you see a route to recovery here? Is there a way for them to navigate this and survive?
Well, yeah, I think you gotta the biggest issue.
Good games?
You gotta address all the problems, right? So you gotta sit here and you gotta address all of the discrimination issues that are popping up, and you got to handle the sexual harassment issues. Like, you got to get the people who are being singled out as part of these issues. You have to get down to the nitty gritty, get the proof you need or whatever, and get rid of them. And then, because that shit even happened, right, then you got to change the people at the top, right? Because majority of the time they knew about it. Right. They let the shit
Which is what I was saying.
Because of whatever reason.
Right.
So you got to take them, get them out of there. You know, however you're going to do it, you know, obviously the people who the sexual harassment and stuff like that happened to, they would probably want them fired, you know, but in this logical world or whatever, or in this world logically, people are going to probably just give them some type of a severance package and, hey, you know, we won't put no bad blemish on your record. You just resign, and then you can go and work at another company so that you can still be an executive or whatever, and you get your money. And then that's how they get them to move out quietly. Right. That's probably how it will go. Right. But yeah, you would just rearrange it from the top and then work your way down, and then you start implementing all of the different things to keep the shit from happening.
Yeah,
again.
I just don't know, because like in the social media world, it's so wildfire. Like even. It's kind of like, there was an example I was trying to remember where like, you get, let's say, accused of something and everyone believes it, and you get like crushed, let's say canceled, and then all of a sudden the truth comes out. People have moved on. People, like, the social media era just like moves on. So people are already... It doesn't matter if later it comes out that you actually weren't wrong here, or like you were vindicated, or whatever it may be. It doesn't matter. People have already moved on. They already have an impression of you. They already think you're this. And I feel like Blizzard is going to be now just a stain. The name is like stained.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, I believe that it depends on the entity getting accused. Like I would feel like a big name brand like Blizzard, you know, having this, you know, come up, and it's like a blemish on their record. But it's like an internal thing, right? So it's not, unfortunately, it's not something that affects you or I. You know what I mean? The game is still out there. We still can play the game. If they were to come out with a game tomorrow, we would assume that that game would be a good game, and there's probably a bunch of people that would still play it. So there's obviously going to be a lot of people who don't play it because they don't want to support that kind of stuff. So what I'm saying is if you were to blatantly show that you are rearranging everything in there to make sure that this does not happen again, or to let people know that this is not acceptable.
So your point is because they have a larger mouthpiece, a larger hone to get their side out.
They have
they're fixing things.
A lot of stuff that they can back themselves up with,
But who's listening? That's what I'm trying to say.
I think everybody would listen because of how big they are, because it's Blizzard. It's just like if you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. So because they have a larger mouthpiece, like a larger soapbox to stand
Yeah, like
on.
if something was to happen to LeBron James, if he was to be accused of something or whatever, and then he was vindicated of that accusation or whatever, people would still hold him at high regard as long as you can change the correction or whatever. Like Kobe had his issue of accusation, and a lot of things happened. He lost a lot of contracts as soon as he was accused of it. There was no actual he wasn't found guilty or anything like that, and then he was vindicated, and then he went back out.
He was stained as that. He was stained with that even after he was vindicated for a long time.
Yeah, but that's dickheads that want to try to bring that up.
It took it years, though. It took him years to build his integrity back.
But at the end of the day, Kobe was still Kobe. He was still putting up the numbers that he was putting up. It's just that people wanted to believe whatever that is. So I'm saying that they could still get back. Like it's still possible to get back.
The only thing I'll say,
if you continue producing greatness, they will accept it again.
The greatness helps. So if they can spit out like a great, incredible game, that would help. You're right. I agree with that. I think that for me, that's how I think they recover, is by making great games.
Yeah, to continue to produce the great game. They fix the issue. If they continue
to make great games, I think even if they struggle to fix the issue, if they just keep making great games, they can bounce back. But what I'm saying is, the one difference between like a superstar like LeBron or Kobe is that this is a company. They live off revenue. Like if it's for like years, if it's taking them years to like re-solidify their integrity, I don't know how long they can last being in the dumpster and the company survive. If anything, they shrink. If anything, they get a lot smaller. I don't see how the company losing all this, because they're losing lots of revenue right now. Mm-hmm. Tons of it. Everyone's unsubscribing. WoW's a wasteland. I don't know how the company bounces back. The company. While those directions you mentioned all make sense, it's just on an individual. It's different for an individual versus like a company. The company is going to have a hard time. I think it's like the beginning of the end for the company.
And I could see like if it starts taking them too long to resolve this issue, right?
Then you can see that. If they can't
come to something like that, I can very well see there being no more Activision Blizzard, just being Activision. But I can bet you that the majority of the people who were working at Blizzard just no longer have the Blizzard title. They're still working at Activision.
So a rebranding can help too.
Yeah, or just an excommunication of the name. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just rebrand. It's no
longer an Activision Blizzard. Blizzard's gone. This is just
rebranded
Activision.
Or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And all of those people that were in there have just moved to a different building.
I think
or whatever.
That's what I think.
And they're still working on games.
A lot of the people, in my opinion, who are at Blizzard, if I were them, would probably just want to, dude, that had nothing to do with me, man. I come to work every day and I make cards. I draw art for Hearthstone. I had nothing to do with this. You're probably better off just branching off and kind of like what some of them did, some of the
a lot of them did.
The Chicken Dinner. I don't know if you ever heard of Chicken Dinner, but the lead designer of Hearthstone, he left the company and took some of the talent with him, and they started their own game company called Chicken Dinner. Mm-hmm. I would do that. I would just branch off and rebrand yourself. This is a new name. And not be associated with that anymore.
Yeah, and I get it, but sometimes
just dissolve it.
Yeah, but sometimes that's harder. You know what I mean? That's a hard step to take because you're gonna.
It is. But it's better than being associated with that right now. I think
you're trying to go off of your name that you made, working at Blizzard, and then start something completely new. and you have to build
It's
the
very
revenue.
hard. It's very
So,
hard.
You know what I mean? You might have to get some new backers, to take percentages of the company or whatever to help fund it.
Oh, for sure.
To get you started.
Absolutely.
Whereas you could just, relocate,
hope that
in
it stays.
Activision, and then be able to
stays
continue,
around. Yeah. Hopefully.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But it'll be definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah,
and
we'll
find
follow
out
the
exactly
story.
what's going on.
And when the court happens, we'll
Blizzard.
follow the arguments and what they say.
Right, because they got to get this stuff changed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, obviously their building is burning,
It's burning.
but
It's
is
burning.
it going to fall all the way down, or are they going to be able to save it?
It
the
is
question.
burning, bro.
And I think the steps that they take to at least getting the employees on their side is the first start. Then they have to gain the people.
Yeah, and be an
So-
attractive place to bring talent.
Yeah,
You have to be a place talent wants to come to, or you're screwed.
right.
So,
So,
it's
but
hard.
that's what I'm
It's-
saying. Like
it's
the
hard.
employees come first. Once that issue with the employees is resolved, and they can get back to making
That's going to be hard to rebuild
doing
that
work
trust.
and stuff like
but
that.
Yeah, but yeah.
Then it's gonna be like, okay, all of those people that were speaking out against it, are gonna be like, hey, they've changed things. They've done this. They've done this, this.
Right.
Please come back to the game and play.
Yeah.
And try to petition to get players back into it.
Right.
To build this momentum back.
If you can, good luck. Good luck,
yeah,
man.
Or create that next game to get everybody buzzed.
Or
behind.
create that next
You know
game.
what I mean?
That's one way, is to create some buzz right now. Release Diablo 4. I mean, like, create some buzz. Do something to get the attention off this. Or don't you, like you said, you're going to fall to the ground.
But fix the issue.
Well,
Don't just do it
you have
get
to,
the
but
attention out, fix the issue. Yeah.
fix the issue. But you got to get the off this.
Right.
You should be internally trying to fix the issue, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about, you need to be getting if you want to survive. If Blizzard wants to survive, they need to do something, to get the attention off this, or they're toast.
Yeah, for sure. So here's the hoping that gets resolved quickly, efficiently, and they can get back to business so that they can finish up, Diablo 4 and stuff like that. But on to the next topic. Stray. The trailer just came out, a new trailer for it, and it seems like it went into a lot more in depth of the game to give you a better idea. Before we saw a trailer, but it was just a small, quick trailer, and it didn't really give us much detail. We just saw the cat in this world with robots.
Right.
We don't know
Totally.
where it's going or what.
Yeah.
But this one, gave us kind of like the, the step-by-step, the procedure, whatnot. A lost cat, just trying to look for his family, comes across the robot. The robot helps him to communicate with these other robots in this world to try to narrow down where his family's at. I was actually surprised when I saw this. Before, when I saw Stray, I was not really impressed. It's like, okay, a cat simulator, you know what I mean? Like, where's the enticement in
Right.
this? You know what I mean? I gotta wait to see something else. But, as they were showing it, I'm like, okay, cat can jump. It can do these things or whatever. It's like a puzzle. It's like a puzzle game. So you're just trying to figure out how to get through the world by utilizing the stuff that's been given to you and that you can move or manipulate as a cat. So that part is, it's cool, whatever. But then I was getting really interested when I saw that there's actually like combat.
Like an
in a
RPG
sense.
aspect where you're getting abilities.
Yeah,
and
you're
like,
getting
yeah.
the robot. You're able to actually increase the robot's abilities.
Right.
And then you're also able to combat and help the creatures of this world, these robots or whatever, from this, whatever this thing is.
It's
I don't know what
corruption
it
or
is.
something
Yeah.
along the lines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's infestation of some sort
Infestation,
or whatever.
yeah.
So it seems like it has quite a few layers in it. And I thought it was even more interesting, So
That's what
how'd you feel about it?
That's what I thought. What was most interesting to me about the trailer, there's two things. For one, when they first started, I was blown away by how well it looked.
Yeah, it did look beautiful.
I was like, this
that
is
was
like...
given. Yeah, it looked really nice.
It was crazy good looking. I was like, dude, this looks next gen, man. Like, I wasn't expecting that from... It's like an indie game, right? I wasn't expecting that quality of beauty and realism. It looked real almost, like that cat walking down the alleyway. I was like, dude, this is like an Unreal Engine 5 tech demo. Like, this is stinking crazy pretty.
Yeah.
Like, I was really shocked by how well it looked. And then, yeah, how they just layered in their aspects. Like, they started off with, like, puzzling. And, like, the cat moved so well, and it was very intuitive. Like, yeah, this is what a cat actually would do. Like, even though like we're using a human brain, like the things the cat was doing was, it felt like this is also probably what a cat would do. Like, it was pawing at things and like it fell into the whatever, it fell down into something. It's like, dude, that's totally, a cat would just paw things and it would fall down. Like, from an outside observer, it could almost look like a cat's just fooling around and things are happening. Like, there isn't like a mind behind it controlling it. Like, the cat's just doing cat things and things are unlocking. And so I was like, that's really, really well done how they made that feel like a cat doing cat things, but at the same time, you're controlling it with the human intelligent mind behind it.
Right.
And then, yeah, when they upped it again, I was like, wow. Because, you know, I haven't played Tales of Innocence, but I know, like, largely you can't really fight back. Mm-hmm. Like, it's largely puzzling.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if, like, you know, when they introduced the infestation or whatever, and you're running and jumping away, I thought it was going to be constantly that. You're just kind of constantly dodging and running. And it's like even the combat encounters are puzzles in and of themselves, just like, you know, Innocence would be.
Yeah.
But then they one of
them
them say
about Plague's Tale, right?
Plague's Tale is kind of like, even the combat encounters are still kind of like puzzles.
Right.
You're not meant to go in there and make a choice to like, or like in
kill everything,
like in Assassin's Creed.
Right.
You can like choose to do this stealthily, or you can choose to go in there guns blazing, or you can do a combination of both. No, you're stuck, dude. You're stuck stealthily. You have ways to like fight to not just die, but you're never going to go in there and wipe everyone out and go guns blazing.
Right.
That's what I thought Stray would be. But no, he wiped everything out. Mm-hmm. Like, he got a weapon and an ability that was so strong that he could destroy waves and waves of those guys, where it was like another option.
Right.
Like a combat option. And it was a very creative way. That little robot was popping off, and it was like his little buddy. Mm-hmm. Like, and that's how you can communicate with the robots. That was so dope.
A translator, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like a, you know, like a Pixar. You know how that little buddy that follows you around in Pixar is like, it was like
a little Wally or something.
A little Wally, yeah, following you around like a little pal. And you got this backpack. It was like adorable. This cat with this little backpack.
Yeah.
And this little guy flopping out and unlocking things, and I was like, dude, this is so cool. Right. So like, it really got really fascinating really quickly, and that trailer did a lot of good for its stock.
For sure.
I'm interested.
So we still haven't, did we get a release date for it?
No, it said 2022. So we know it's next year.
Yeah, so I mean,
early,
unfortunately we have a long time to wait for it, but I'm definitely way more excited to see more of it. You know what I mean? And I mean, I'd hope that there'd be a demo for it, but probably won't.
That seems like a great game for a demo.
Yeah, it would.
It would fit a demo really well. Yeah, like just to experience the feel of the cat and the puzzling.
Yeah,
I agree. That'd be a great game for a demo.
Yeah. So that's definitely something to look forward to. I mean, obviously we're gonna have it playing here.
Yeah, you can see it.
But you know, definitely, be on the lookout for that one, and we'll definitely be on the lookout and feeding you guys more information once we hear some more from it. For the next topic, we're going to make this super brief. But they did showcase Halo Infinite's multiplayer out there.
Mm-hmm.
They gave like a tech preview or something like that. My quick synopsis of it, like it didn't look like anything spectacular. It didn't wow me. It looked like nothing new. The only cool thing that I saw was the little grappling hook or whatever that you could use to kind of traverse or grab items so that they were coming to you instead of you going to it. But other than that, I saw nothing special about this. It didn't like, ooh, I can't wait to play the multiplayer. You know what I mean? It's like almost like, so what, for me. But that's how I felt about it. How'd you feel about it?
Somewhat similar. I will say this: like, if you love Halo, then I think you're going to be excited by this because it's more Halo. Yeah. Like, there wasn't anything there to draw someone like me who, may be tired of Halo and want something new and different. So for me, it didn't really draw me in. To me, it just felt like it got more twitchy. So now, like, I have this thing to deal with, Like, I have a grappling hook I can use now. Just more things to worry about and more things to twitch and react to. That turns me off even more. Yeah. So for me, and on top of that, I just wasn't too impressed really by how it looked. It just looked like Halo to me.
But I mean, before we saw that, they went from shit graphics to okay graphics.
Yeah, it's okay graphics, and I'm sure this will be in 4K, 60 FPS on Xbox Series X, and it'll be clear and crisp, but it doesn't really look like anything new I'm still looking forward to seeing how the campaign comes out. Like the multiplayer aspect, I was interested in. I think it's cool that they're showing it off. There are people playing it right now, pros testing it, playing it. And yeah, it looks like Halo. If Halo excites you, then this probably excited you. But it just looked like it got more complex and harder for someone like me to try to get into.
Yeah, it seemed like they were so forthcoming and willing to show you the stuff from the multiplayer because it's free. How you gonna really complain? And then we don't have to make it that pretty because you're not gonna be focused on how shit looks. You're gonna be trying to kill stuff.
Yeah,
you know what
it's
I mean?
free.
But
so it's hard to complain when it's free. You're just like, cool, more Halo. But to be honest, it's like we were hoping this is that next gen leap. This is your new next gen like game. Even though this runs on the series, like some of the footage they showed was an Xbox One. Mm-hmm. And so that's always the struggle for me. This goes back to when we were talking long ago about the Series S being a bottleneck for the X. If you're trying to go back to the Xbox One, that's a major bottleneck. You're never going to get something that could next gen. Yeah. You know, and so it's a bummer. Units.
There was one more. Sorry. There was 10 million units sold that were PS5 exclusives that were first-party titles.
Well, they sold 10 million PS5 consoles.
10 million consoles?
Yes, 10 million PS5 consoles have been sold.
Okay.
As well as all the game number sales for the consoles. So the PS5 became the fastest growing console in history. Mm-hmm. No consoles reached 10 million before its first year's up, right? Right. So that's pretty incredible. Also, they sold 5.6 million Miles Morales? 6.5 million Miles
Morales for a PS5.
6.5 for Miles Morales. 1.1 million for Ratchet and Clank. 2.2, I think, for MLB the Show.
Yeah.
And then 560 for...
I think it was like around 526,000 units.
So around 550K for Returnal.
Right.
So... that seems low. I don't know. That seems low to me because when you see 10 million units sold, we don't know what Demon's Souls sold for. We were speculating this before the show. Is that because they don't have ownership of that studio, Bluepoint, so they can't release those numbers? Or are they hiding them? Did Demon's Souls not sell that well? Like, is that possible? That'd be weird to me because when I look at this, I think to myself, when I saw the PS5, what got me hyped about it were the games. Demon's Souls in particular. So I really wanted to buy a PS5 because I wanted to play Demon's Souls. Right? Mark included, you included. And I know we talked about this when the PS5 was launching, that we weren't even sure if it was worth buying a PS5 because there really wasn't any games to play, really, except Demon's Souls.
Besides one, yeah.
And so we weren't really that hyped. Well, come to find out, it doesn't seem like these PS5 games are really selling that much, apart from Miles Morales. But Miles Morales was like cross-gen. Like you could buy it on a PS4. We're talking about Demon's Souls, Returnal, Ratchet. These games, Returnal and Ratchet in particular, can only be played on a PS5. That's it.
Right.
And if you have 10 million people out there who bought a PS5 and only 1 million bought Ratchet, I mean, 1 million units is it's a lot of units.
Yeah.
But when it's only 10%,
it's a very, very small
10% of the users bought it, and it's only 5% of the users bought Returnal.
Yeah.
What I want to know is, what are y'all playing? Like, what are y'all playing on your PS5s?
Yeah, for the ones that were able to get it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we know that number is, I mean, essentially, it's like every person that bought a PlayStation 5 at least bought one first-person title.
I would think.
For it. That's what it looks like. If you got 10 million units sold, and there's 10 million units of games sold, that's
we don't know if there's 10 million units of games sold.
Well, I'm saying of PS5 first-party exclusives sold.
Well, I don't know if it adds up to that.
It was very close.
The 10 million was the number of consoles sold. Mm-hmm. That's what that number was for.
Right.
And then you have maybe it adds up.
I mean, if you got 6.5,
7.5, 8,
2,
and then maybe 2 for Demon's Souls.
Well, you had 2 for MLB.
Or 1 million for Demon's Souls.
You had the 6 for Miles. You had the 1 for Ratchet and Clank. That's 9. Then you got the 5, almost like half a mil for Returnal. That's real close to the 10. You know what I mean?
So your rationale is everyone just bought one game and stuck with it?
I'm just saying that like it seems as if like if you're trying to put the numbers together, it would seem generally that at least for every console sold, there was one first party game that was bought with it. You know, one first party PlayStation game, regardless of whatever they bought. Else among that, just PlayStation. You know, it was one for every console that was sold, and that seems small, but I mean, we see the pickings for it. It's not. You know, it's not great. Like,
that's what would make me.
There's not a lot of games.
Think that whenever a game did launch, then it would just sell a lot.
You would think so.
Multiple millions.
Yeah.
Because there isn't anything else on it. So I'm like, I'm thirsty for a PS5 game. So when Ratchet launched or Returnal launched, I wanted to buy it because there's nothing. I want to play something that's meant for my PS5.
Yeah, but at the same time, we've kind of experienced like, all across the spectrum, you know, like it's continued across the spectrum. So you have Demon Souls, then you have Ratchet and Clank, you have Returnal, you know, MLB the Show, if you want to include that, Spider-Man. Like they're not, none of them are like the same type of game. So it's like if you were really into, you know, Souls-like games, Demon Souls is your thing. If you're into just like a fun game that you can go and, you know, pop in and pop out whenever you want to play it, Ratchet and Clank. You know what I mean? If you just really wanted to play Spider-Man, you know, that type of, you know, RPG-ish type of game or whatever, you know, that's what you got.
I'm just saying, why did you buy a PS5 if you weren't planning on buying the PS5 games? Like, if you were planning on just continuing to play Fortnite, why buy a PS5? Like,
why did you? Then my question would be why did you make a PS5 if you weren't going to make PS5 games for it? It seems like there should be more.
That's my question too.
You made everything that's available for PS5 and PS4.
I totally agree with that.
You don't have PS5 exclusives.
I totally agree with that 100%.
I feel like the people just bought the PS4 game version of it instead of buying the PS5 version of it or something.
Well,
like that.
that's only true with like Miles or, you know, MLB the Show, but with Ratchet and Returnal in particular, you couldn't get a PS4 version or with Demon Souls. We don't know Demon Souls.
They didn't even sell that much. I mean,
I know that's what's shocking to me. That's what I'm so like shocked about. Is like, how does 10 million people buy a PS5? That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
How does 10 million people buy a PS5 and don't buy the PS5 games for it? Essentially, no one's buying the PS5 games. Essentially,
I mean, like
one out of 10 of y'all bought Ratchet. Like that's nobody.
But I mean, if we look at
zero.
If we look at the two minimal games, right, the two lowest games, Returnal and Ratchet and Clank, right? I've never played a Ratchet and Clank before. I just got it because I felt like it would be something that we can talk about on the show. And
it was the only PS5 game that came out really in a long time.
Right. And I enjoyed it. But normally I would not have got it. I would have seen it and I'd been like, okay, cool, it's out. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't have got it. So there's probably a lot of people who just weren't interested in that type of IP, you know, to get that.
That's totally fine. But then why would you buy a PS5 then? Because you knew Ratchet was coming out. Mm-hmm. You knew the games you're going to get to play on this thing. Here, you know them already. Demon Souls, Ratchet, Returnal. We knew those were coming out in the first 6 months.
But you also thought
if you had no interest in playing that, why would you go buy a new console then?
You also thought about that Kenna. You thought Deathloop. You thought like a bunch more of these games.
Yeah, but why would you get it within the first few months? Why not wait a year? Why did you get it now?
New hotness.
That's what I'm saying.
The new hotness, you know what I mean? Like it's the new thing. You want to try grab it. You was able to get it, you know what I mean? Lucky enough to get it or whatever, then, you know, boom. But, you know, like you said before, it didn't matter if you got it.
So just
or
like
not,
a sheep notion? Like everyone's got to get it, so I got on board and get one too kind of thing?
No, more so like it's
hot, so I got to get one?
It's new, so I got to get it, maybe. You know, FOMO.
I don't know, man.
Fear of missing out, man. All about that.
Yeah, that's like the sheep mentality. Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe.
That's a lot of the times that's all it is.
That's funny. Because I got it because I wanted those games, right? You know, I wanted Demon Souls.
We wanted a lot more of the other games that we still have not gotten.
Sure, I know. I felt like we were misled on Horizon and God of War in particular that I didn't think I thought we were going to get. And now we're not going to get. So I feel like they did sell us a bag of goods that wasn't entirely the full bag of goods. So maybe that's part of it. But I'm just saying I knew I wanted to play Demon Souls. That's really what puts me over the edge, right? Is like I wanted to play it bad. You know, like I really wanted to play that game.
It was worthy enough for you to buy a console.
Yeah, I really wanted to play that game.
And now ain't much else out there.
Because we were torn. You and I were torn on whether we should get a new one or just stick with our PS4. We were like, maybe we just stick, you know, and wait. You know?
No, I wasn't torn about wanting the new PS5.
I mean, immediately.
I just
Getting
wasn't.
it, like,
I
on
wasn't
launch
about
day.
to pay resale prices for it. Like I wanted it, but I'm not about to get ganked for it. You know what I'm saying? So I'll wait for it. It's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? Like where I'ma just hash out $900 for a digital console.
No, I would never play retail. But I mean, like, I was unsure if it was something that I even really needed to worry at all about getting. Like, do I need to even worry at all about buying this console at all?
So
because it seems like everything that's coming out is going to be on the PS4 anyways.
So the fact that you got the increased speeds on like load time and stuff like that wasn't enough to just like sell
Just
you in
that
general?
and that alone wasn't. The games is what sells me. Like with the games is always what sells me. And so basically no. And I wasn't going to
get
get
a PS4 Pro?
Yeah, I had a Pro.
What sold you on the Pro?
The Pro
If you already
probably
had the PS4, what sold you on the Pro?
probably because I wanted to just upgrade my console,
Okay.
you know.
So
But that wouldn't be enough for me to. What I mean is
you
it
wouldn't want
was
to upgrade your console again.
if I had to fight to get a PS4 Pro, fight tooth and nail, then I'll just stick with what I have. That's more so what I'm saying.
Okay.
It was a hard deal to get a PS5. It was hard. The reason why I fought to get one because I wanted to play the games that were coming out on it.
Okay.
Like, if it was only going to be a hardware, I'm not going to go fight for that. That's what I'm trying to say. Sleep out at GameStop.
So if it had been PS5 level hard to get a PS4, you would have never gotten one. You would have just
If it was a
stuck with the regular
PS5 level hard to get a PS4 Pro, then I probably would have waited. I probably would have waited on it.
one. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't hard to get, so I can't. That wasn't even an option in my mind at the time because
Right.
it wasn't hard to get.
Right.
It was easy to get. So I'm assuming, had the same situation occurred and there was this mad shortage or this scarcity issue like we've never seen before, then I probably would have just said, forget it. I believe I probably would have been like, nah, just wait until it's like, because I'm not getting anything else but like better graphics. Load times didn't change between PS4 and PS4 Pro.
No.
You just got a little bit better graphics.
Yeah, but I'm
So,
still. It just seemed like it was just an upgrade, a console upgrade, right? That's
Right.
all it seemed to be right now. Yeah, you got a couple of games that you can play on it specifically, but it's just been a console upgrade, you know, a gameplay upgrade type of thing. That's what it's boiled down to, you know, with the games we played. I'm playing PS4 games right now, so. You know what I mean? It's
Same
literally
here.
just a console upgrade. That's all. That's all it really is. And they've made it that way because they have not produced enough PS5 only games. I don't know why they're just insisting upon making all of these games available on the PS4 as well. I mean, I guess it's because they know how scarce the thing is and they're just trying to sell as many units, but it just seems like, you know, all of the digital consoles that you will eventually sell, people are going to want to buy PS5 games. They're going to want to catch all the ones that they couldn't catch before. So it's like, why wouldn't you just, you know, make all of the games the new ones or whatever on PS5? And then it's like, eventually people are going to buy them and they're going to pay full price for them.
Well, what
They
I'm
still
thinking
gonna pay
too
full
is
price.
like, another thought I had along the lines of what you're saying is Miles Morales sold 6.5 million copies. That isn't even. That's a little over half. It's 65% of the total PlayStation 5 player base.
Yeah.
So why not just if you can't even get to 10 million when you have the PS4 version of it, you have 10 million users already. So why haven't you already kind of transitioned to producing games, right? For the 10 million you have. Only 1 million people bought Ratchet. Like, you're not missing out on a lot of sales, I don't think, anymore. Like, for me, I really do wonder, like, how much better would the sales have been if you could get Ratchet on the PS4 too? Probably not that much better, because you had Miles on both the consoles, and that's like one of the most popular IPs on the planet, Spider-Man, and only sold 6 million. I just don't think. I would assume a lot of those are PS5 versions.
Yeah.
Probably
Well,
most of them.
I believe that these were the
Bundled,
PS5.
right? They were all bundled too.
Yeah, I'd have to look and see like how much
Where
Spider-Man Miles
PS4
Morales
was
just
was
sold all together,
right,
PS4 and PS5.
and which one on each? Yeah.
Yeah.
But my mind is like, dude, if you can't even reach your max player base, that would be the concern for me. Like, let's say, dude, like you're selling like almost 10 million copies. You're like, shoot, man, I wish our player base was bigger so we can sell more, right? Like your player base, clearly in my mind, like your player base isn't really your bottleneck. So just release games on this. You have lots of users, like you're saying, launch games on the PS5 only, man.
Yeah.
And that would probably get more people to buy the system too. You'd even have more sales. Although I think every single console that's available is being sold. I don't think there's a single one on the shelf. So yeah, every one they make is sold.
Yeah, every one that touches ground is getting bought. Now, who's buying it? That's a different conversation.
It's probably exactly what you said. Fear of missing out or whatever, right?
No, I'm just saying. I'm thinking the scalpers are the ones that are poaching.
Oh, and that too.
It touches.
That too.
You can't really get your player base.
Yeah, that's
which
true.
is also another issue because
that's a good point.
10 million.
How many of those 10 million are in
sold,
players' hands?
Yeah,
that's a good point.
There's at least like a million or two that are just sitting in somebody's in people's garages.
How many are actually
sold,
being played?
how
Yeah,
many
that's
are
a good
actually
point.
Logged on and being used. I would like to see the PS5 user amount.
Yeah,
logged in user,
active user.
With the games purchased, then I'd like to see it. So, if let's say 8 million players are out there for the PS5, but you sold around 10 million units of PS5 games, then we're having a whole different conversation because people have bought
more than
these
one
games. Right. They've bought more than one title, but we're only looking at units sold.
I still think 1 million is really low for Ratchet. That seems really low to me.
It is really low.
Even if it's 8 million user base, even if it's 8 million active users, that seems like very few people went out and bought that, which I think is kind of a shame because it's a really great game. Mm-hmm. And if you have a PS5, what does the $70 price tag have something to do with that? I don't know. I just don't know what's preventing people from buying that game because it's such a good game.
Yeah. So, I mean, definitely down below in the comments, let us know what games, if you have a PS5, what games you actually
what do you like
it.
playing on your PS5?
Yeah,
also,
what are you playing currently right now?
What are you playing right now? Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. Yeah.
Yeah, so enough of all the quick shots. That was actually the last one. So let's move on to the main topics. The first main topic we have to talk about, of course, is Abandoned. They just recently tweeted out that they were going to have the first... I guess like the DLC or not DLC, but like a demo or something like that coming soon, right?
They have this like application that they launched, and the way it's supposed to work is this is unique in the sense that you're going to be able to see the game run in real time through the app. So what they release isn't like a pre-rendered trailer like on YouTube. It's going to be like a real time live like kind of interaction of the actual game. So what you see is going to be how the game will be.
Okay.
So it's kind of a new way of interacting with the trailer. They launched that app. The trailer isn't released yet, but they launched that app.
I tried looking for that. Did you find the app?
You have to go like to collections. I didn't get it, but there's some weird strange route you had to go to get to it. Yeah.
Because I searched for Abandoned and could find nothing.
Yeah, it's a weird route. They actually released like directions because people couldn't find it.
Why do they make it so difficult to do? But all right.
It's just a weird thing.
I guess because it's a trailer.
I don't know. Maybe because it's a trailer.
I don't know. I'm definitely gonna have to find the link to that
interactive app or whatever.
As to how you get to it.
Yeah,
because I wanted to see it and I was looking for it so I could talk about it today, but I could not find it. So
another crazy thing about this whole situation is they on their Twitter page, which I sent to you, they tweeted out like, "We're excited, are you?" or whatever, Abandoned. And in the background, you can kind of see a silhouette of a bald guy, and you can kind of see the silhouette of like an eye patch.
Almost giving you like some Metal Gear Solid vibes.
I think it's like blatant. Once again, we'll go back to what we said before. How can you say we have no connection with Hideo Kojima, and then blatantly copy things that are about his game?
Yeah. You know what you're doing.
You're trying to play cat and mouse. Yeah. And you go on their Twitter page, bro, and they have that damn comment pinned, the one we have no connection with. They have it pinned. And then they release this. Dude, does this piss you off? Does it just comedic to you? Does it anger you? Does it frustrate you?
At this point, I'm starting to not care. I'm caring less and less about these abandoned topics because I just want them to get on with it. Like I would laugh and it would bring me such an inner happiness for everybody to not give two shits about this game, and then for it to finally release and people like don't care. And then somebody just happens to play it, and they're like, "Oh shit, it is Hideo Kojima!" Like
that'd be
or whatever,
funny, dude.
you know what I mean? It's
That'd
like,
be
dude,
funny.
you totally fucked yourself.
Everyone hates you so much that no one plays it, but it actually was Hideo Kojima.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
All the
people are so
bullshit,
tuned
it
off by
actually
what
ended
you're
up
doing.
that
Yeah,
shit. But I mean, it's not gonna happen like that because people still want to make it, a topic to talk about, and they want to discover this mystery. But
well, it's so bizarre because the silhouette of the guy, the bald guy with the eye patch.
Yeah.
Like what Boss Man or Snake, it looks just like him, right?
Right.
And it's like,
well, or at least it gives you that idea.
it doesn't look just like him, but it's modeled clearly off a very famous Hideo Kojima character, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just a freaking Epic Store model. This isn't something like they made. They just bought a simple model off like the Epic Store
and threw it on there
and threw it on the background of their. You can't tell me they don't know what they're doing. They clearly know that they're trying to capitalize on Hideo Kojima and at the same time say they're not. So this is either the worst marketing decision I've ever seen in my life, if it really honestly has nothing to do with Hideo Kojima, or it has something to do with Hideo Kojima. Some people are speculating like the name Abandon refers to like one of the abandoned Hideo games, like Silent Hill by Konami.
I mean, they had like, if you click on the tweet, and we'll try to see if we can get the link to the tweet, like in the description or whatever, so you guys can see, or at least in the comments. But when you look at the actual tweet, everybody underneath it is honing in on these blurred out words that are like in the picture or whatever, in the image. I think it's above the title,
Abandon or whatever,
and the face or whatever, and they keep trying to pinpoint what it's saying. At this point, we just need to stop giving it all of the buzz that it's getting. Let that shit die out, because then they will eventually quit trying to play these little games and then just come straight forward with
addicts.
What's actually going in or something. I don't know. But I mean, because everybody is speculating on this shit, we're literally feeding into the bullshit, and we're gonna keep getting.
It's like they don't know how to market their game any other way.
Yeah,
like dude, like this is the only way we've gotten hyped, so we're gonna keep doing this.
Kojima,
yeah,
they need to burn. They need to burn for this.
I agree, man.
But
they need to crash and burn. Hard.
So, anyways, moving on to the next topic. We got some PS5 good news. They recently they've been playing with this beta update that they're working with. It's been going out to people, I guess, who signed up for the beta testing little program or whatever. But they're starting to allow people to get their consoles activated for those little SSD slots that they've put in there that we haven't been able to touch. People have checked it out when the console first released, after knowing that there was expansion slots in there, putting things in there, and the console saying, "Nah, we don't know what this is. Take it out. I'm not even gonna let you play anything." Right. But now that the software update is out, there's all of these people that are trying these SSDs. They're talking about how it works just as good as the regular, the standard SSD that's already in the console. So that's good news. We've seen a bunch of different articles and stuff giving you the lists of SSDs that have at least the theory of being just as good, or the best ones to buy or whatnot. I don't know how many have been actually tested. I don't think all of them have, but they're supposed to be like 7,000 megabytes per second or something like that. It's supposed to be around what you want. The PlayStation has 5,500 or something like that, and it can go up to 9,000. So you would want it at 7,000 or something like that, or at least more than 5,000. So maybe 6 would be your good base or whatever. And they have quite a few, but I was going to ask you, man, how you feel about these prices on these SSDs? Because I've been looking at some of them, and they're starting to get hefty, right? These one terabytes are almost like $300 for quite a few of them, US dollars. And all I can think of is comparing it to the SSD expansion slot that was given out day one for the Xbox. And
Yeah,
now
the
that one's
Xbox,
like 230 or 210 or something.
but there's only a 1 terabyte option.
Right.
So that would be the only thing I would say is that if you looked at the 500 gigabyte M2 ones, they're like 120, 130. So you can save yourself $100. You only get half the storage, but you at least have the option for like a cheaper route. Where on the Xbox, you have to buy the 220 one.
Yeah.
What I'll say though is like, I think it's gonna happen already, man. The moment that Sony unlocks, and this is one reason why I think that they haven't unlocked it yet, because I was watching one video or one article where someone was mentioning how they kind of figured out the reason why Sony hadn't released the expansion slot yet for the solid state drive. And that was because like it was right behind the motherboard, I think, the slot where it gets hottest. And I think that Sony, they placed their SD slot expansion in the absolute wrong location. And I think they kind of realized that and say, we can't let people do this because they're just going to go to Best Buy and buy, hey, there's a $70 one there for 1 terabyte. I'll just plug that in. And it's going to burn up. They're going to burn up their system.
I did see that all of the SSDs that are recommended have to have heat sinks.
Yeah, it says you have to have one on there or buy one yourself and add it to it.
Right.
Because this is why. Because there's a heating issue right there but I believe, so whoever discovered that, I think is right. I think they nailed it on the head.
Yeah.
They found out that there's a heating issue with the slot in that location. So Sony realized and said, whoa, we have to pull the plug on a lot in the expansion slot until we figure this out.
Right.
Until we let people know
that it needs to be
someone needs to develop one with heat sinks on it. Exactly.
And it's got to be the perfect height
and the perfect height and speed. And the
Yeah,
perfect height and speed. And so that's why there's been this long delay.
Right.
So
because you're waiting on all of these other companies to make them.
Exactly.
They've got the parameters. You just got to make them. So once you guys make enough of them, then we'll
and then Sony has to also make a disclaimer because they have a legitimate M2 slot.
Right.
It's legitimate. It's not like proprietary.
Right.
So someone will, I think, in my opinion, I think this will happen. I think this is what Sony has not wanted to happen, who didn't follow the directions.
They'll put one without a heat
They'll
sink.
just go and buy one when it gets unlocked and burn their console up, and they'll be getting calls left and right.
So they have to
Can
have
you fix
something
my
that
console?
says we are not liable for your expansion slot upgrades or whatever if it does not carry a heatsink. Or just maybe period.
Just period. Like, if it doesn't carry a heatsink, we're not responsible.
Because I think that would probably be their best bet. Because as long as PlayStation does not create one, then there's no backlash they can get. Hey, we're allowing it, but we're telling you that we are not held liable if your console burns up.
Exactly.
Because you decided to upgrade it. We didn't give you that option. We're not going to give you that option of purchasing one that has a PlayStation logo on it that you can plug in because we know how hot it runs. So you take that at your own risk. If you would like to expand it that way, then boom. All my guests.
Exactly.
But we're not gonna
understand the risk you're taking.
Give you a new console because you decided
understand
to do
the risk you're taking.
Yeah.
So
especially
I would
if
just
you jerry rigged a freaking heatsink on there and you ain't do it properly or something like that. Your bitch burn up quick.
So it's like you're better off.
So your shit explode. Like
yeah, all of a sudden it just sizzles. Yeah. You're like, shoot, what happened?
You're like, damn,
you're gonna be sad.
Yeah.
Which is why you're probably better off buying the 280 or whatever 1 terabyte pre-made heatsink that's fitted and rated for the PS5.
Right.
Than playing games with your console and thinking you can just rig it. Just buy the one, man. If you want a terabyte, buy the one that is heat synced and ready to go. That's rated by Sony that says, yep, this one works.
Right. Yeah. That's what I would hope, that at least Sony says that we've tried this out in thousands of consoles and they have performed perfectly.
Works, right.
Here's the ones, kind of like my camera that we use to record this. It says, hey, these are the SSDs that you can use to put your footage on. We don't recommend you using the other ones. These are the ones that work. You could try the other ones, buy them shits at your own risk. Here's what works. So as long as I stick to that list, I'm good.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping that they do for this.
And I agree with you. These are way too outrageous and priced, in my opinion, because I still feel that the expansion shot for the Xbox is $220 is still, in my opinion, too much money.
Yeah.
To expand your hard drive by just 1 terabyte.
Right.
Make
and
it 150.
We get it.
150.
We understand why it's expensive, but it's just like, damn.
It's very expensive.
Yeah. You're damn near paying for half the console because you want to upgrade your storage a little bit.
That's the disconnect. That's the disconnect. It's like, wait a minute. So are you telling me that when I bought my PS5, half the price was just Just the solid
Just the
state drive?
storage.
That doesn't make sense. You have a CPU here, a GPU here, a motherboard, a heatsink, a design, a drive,
Right.
and half my console is just the storage. Like, it's hard to believe that's true. But I will give Microsoft some kudos here in the sense that I think they chose the right route of just making their own proprietary stick. They don't have to worry about it. They don't have to worry about some dude who didn't follow the directions and just slipped his own in there, who went to Best Buy and just bought an M2 slot and put one in.
Yeah.
You just know when you buy this, you know it's going to work. When you buy the one off the shelf, you know it's going to work. You slip it in, it's going to work exactly as Microsoft wanted it to work.
And it's far enough from the motherboard.
And
that
it's
it will
far
not
enough
cause
from
any
the
more heat.
motherboard that you're not going to burn your system up.
Yeah.
I commend them for being, having that kind of foresight. That was a very good job on their part. Even though I'm still shocked by how much it is. It costs basically the same as an S.
Mm-hmm.
That one stick is almost as much as an entire Series S.
Yeah.
Like, that's really shocking to me.
Which is why we were saying, from the get-go when it first came out with all these prices, that you might as well just go ahead and get you the X.
Exactly.
Because if you ever contemplate that you might want to increase your storage,
you're spending $200
buy
anyways.
that
You're
card,
at $500 anyways. Yeah.
you spending $20 more just to buy that card than if you had
You're
just
right.
got the
Even
damn
20 more
console
than that. You're
itself,
right.
the
You're spending
X.
$520 versus $500 for the same amount, right?
Right.
Almost the same amount.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have a little bit more space. You're going to 1.5, but still,
Right.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I still feel the same way about the pricing, but I laugh so much that Sony is like, oh, shoot, what do we do? People are going to burn their PS5s up.
Yeah.
You know it's going to happen, man. We're going to get the story, right?
Yep. I can't wait to see the
PS5
first
owner
one.
burned his PlayStation.
I can't see the first one. I want to see his
Yeah.
dumbass face when he's on there
It's
because
gonna
he put that bitch in. He knew damn well he should have had that heat sink. But hey, he wanted to try it and test it
man.
out and see what happened. Yeah. But on to the next topic. We have kind of like hinted at this the whole time we were talking about it, but more games are being delayed. Surprise, surprise, right? So we just got word that Kenna, Bridge of Spirits, has been pushed back until September, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's like, damn, okay, this game was supposed to come out in August, I believe. So now it's out the same time as Deathloop will be. And it's just kind of like,
that's a trip
it's rough,
to me
because
because
you wanted to play something all August and
Right.
then have a new game all
September,
September to play.
exactly.
But now you got two games. So
I think
how
that
you
was
work
like,
it.
yeah, I remember us talking about this a while ago. I think a few months ago when like Ratchet clean or Returnal Ratchet.
Right.
We were talking about the game drought. And I was like, if we can just make it to like August when Kenna comes out, then it's like every month after that. I think I was feeling like moving forward from that point in time, because then you had like Elden Ring in January. Like
Right.
from that point in time, you'd have something dope every month to play.
Right.
But now it's like, no, we got pushed again. We're still 1 month still away from having that flow of games return to the normal gaming industry, flow of games.
Right.
And my second thought was what you just said was like, I just feel like, let's say like Kenna comes out a week before Deathloop. A lot of them might go, I think I'm just going to wait because Deathloop comes out next week. So I'm just going to wait on that because Deathloop comes out next week and I'm planning on buying that.
Yeah,
and I don't want to
or-
drop 100 within 2 weeks,
Right. Or, you're just, somebody that's, got to ration out the games that they get.
Yeah,
so it's like, well, if
exactly.
they really wanted to play Kenna, they buy Kenna and then they have to wait on Deathloop. You know what I mean? Because they
Right.
can't play that right away.
And in my opinion, you're right. It could go both ways. I think it affects Kenna more than we talked about this before. But
Yeah,
you're
we were
right.
trying to see,
it can
like,
go both ways.
Can a AAA or can an indie title really compete against a AAA title?
Who's going to get stepped on more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we believe that the AAA title would step all over the indie
Right.
title, just because, it's a AAA. It's, so.
That's my worry too, is because I really like these guys at Quantum. Wait, what are they called?
Ember Labs.
Ember Labs.
Yeah.
I want to see their game succeed because
Right.
I think they're doing something awesome here, and I'm really worried with this month that they're releasing in. That for me, any month, if it's September, October, November, December, you're having
What
a
they're
hard
coming up
time
against.
fitting in.
Yeah.
Where are you fitting in there? Because you want this to do great. I want them to make another game. I want them to be so successful that Sony's like, hey, let's either buy you up as a studio or let's do another partnership and make another game together. Like, I want to see this game be successful. I want to see these guys succeed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where do you fit in, man? Like, if you could have just made that August window, in my opinion, I think they would have sold a crap ton of copies. Because there's nothing really else big coming out except Kenna in August.
Yeah.
And you would sell lots and lots of copies, I think.
Has there been anything this month in July?
There hasn't even really been anything in July either.
Nothing came out in July.
Nothing
right?
big. I don't believe anything big because
Ratchet
was June.
Midgard, but
right.
nah.
Tribes of Midgard is their release this month for nothing for PlayStation, right? I mean, there's a couple. I mean, you had Death's Door for Xbox, but like there wasn't really anything big in July either.
No, not a PlayStation's title or
like
something like that.
A big level title we're hoping to get, right?
So I mean, even I think we originally thought it was gonna be in July, right? Because we had saw that little leak or whatever, and it had shown that there was a release date for July on there, but they never announced it, so we couldn't go off of that. And of course, they didn't want to stick to that, so they pushed it to August, and now they've pushed it to September. And so it's just like, damn, man.
I think they should just push it to next year. Like I was telling you in our messaging.
Yeah.
They'd be better off going in like February, March next year when there isn't any competition.
Yeah, I don't see why a game would push their release back a month.
Yeah, because it might even be like 3 weeks because we don't even know when in September.
Yeah, 3 months, okay. What I mean? Maybe 2 months or something like that. But just,
I agree,
just
dude.
A couple of weeks, a month.
That's weird to me.
Is that really enough time that you need? Or are you just going to push this bitch back again? You know what I mean?
I agree.
Just give yourself a shitload of time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Just have that bitch in gold for like 3 months.
I agree, dude.
And be like, oh, surprise, we're going to release it this month. Like,
I agree, 100%. Just give
something.
yourself an ass load amount of time. It don't matter.
Yeah,
you're gonna sell when you got a good window to sell.
Right, because if you were to give a prediction of like, okay, our game is coming out at the end of the first quarter of 2022, but then it's ready and you guys are so ready to get it out there that you're saying, hey, we finished the work, we're gonna release it early. That's gonna get people extra excited. Like we're gonna release it. And
how revolutionary would that be if they tell us March and they say, you know what, we're gonna release it in February for y'all.
Right.
That'd be. We haven't heard that. All we hear is delays.
Enough of you guys were complaining about it. We're just gonna release it early. We're gonna.
They'd be like the heroes of the delay window thing.
Right.
Yeah, like no one's ever doing that.
It'd be revolutionary,
They're revolutionary, man.
But so it's just like it's a bummer. And then of course Horizon, what is it?
Forbidden West.
Yeah, that one has been postponed to 2022. They didn't actually give us a date. I believe that they said it was coming out 2021. Or at least we thought it was.
I was under that impression because I remember last time we talked about this, I was
saying
how
much we were looking at and everything. We were thinking this thing was basically
I was always under the impression it was coming out in 2021.
Yeah.
Always under that impression.
But it is not. So.
But I think we all, because we talked about this before, we were like, I think they'll probably wait until 2022. I believe that my theory, I mentioned this on the text mention, is like it's in the can. I think it's like pretty much done and ready.
Yeah.
They just want to know when should we launch this game. And there is lots of competition this holiday season, man.
Yeah, there's competition, but I mean at the same time it's like, okay, so now you have another 2 first party titles or whatever that will be trying to compete because God of War was supposed to come out 2022.
You're right.
So now you have
big
Forbidden
ones.
West.
You mean big ones?
Yeah, and God of War that now have to presumably fight to the death for the number 1 slot. If they are. I mean, they should be, at that point, for them being the first party titles.
If they pick the times right, they could still sell a lot of copies.
They'll sell copies.
But as far as like competing for for awards and stuff, they're stepping on each other's toes big time.
Right.
Which one wins that, right?
Yeah. So.
And also, do we have...
And you got damn Elden Ring.
That's gonna be a big. That's gonna be tough to beat. Elden Ring's gonna be tough to beat next year.
There's presumably like 3 big ass games that are gonna come out, and they're going to fight for that number 1 position.
Dude, do we even have a PlayStation first party coming out this holiday season? We have Deathloop coming out. It's not first party, but it's like a Sony exclusive in September.
But you're talking about made from Sony Studios.
Yeah, do we have like anything from Sony coming out this holiday season? I mean, that's because I think that's what we thought that Forbidden West was going to be Sony's big holiday season title. Is Sony releasing any holiday season title? Do we have anything?
I don't know. Not that I know of. I'm trying to look.
Yeah, I mean, You know, I just typed in, dude. I just typed in Sony first party holiday 2021. You know what came up? 100 articles saying Forbidden West is reportedly delayed to 2022. So I'm thinking that was the one everyone thought was the holiday 2021 title, was Forbidden West.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, that would have been like the biggest one, and that would have had the best chance of getting like Game of the Year. You know.
That's
possibly.
crazy, man.
Especially with the drought that the Xbox has, you know, for games coming out for that as well.
Man, that's crazy.
So,
see, because Xbox has Halo. I mean, that was delayed, but that's a big first party coming out this year. And I think they also have Forza Horizon New Dawn coming out this year too. Okay. Which is a big first-party title as well.
For Xbox.
So Xbox has some first-party titles coming out this holiday season.
Yeah, but
I don't think
Sony has any. That any of those would have been able to compete against like Horizon Forbidden West?
No, not necessarily compete. I just mean that they're getting something. Xbox users are getting a first-party title this holiday. Right, Sony's not getting any first-party title this holiday. Mm-hmm. Now, we've already had first-party titles and second-party titles this year, and Microsoft hasn't had any this year. So that's fine, but I'm just surprised that Sony has nothing at all coming out in the holiday season this year. Yeah, that's strange to me.
Is Arkham Knight supposed to come out this year? Or that was
Gotham Knights?
Yeah, Gotham Knights.
That's next year. That got delayed too.
Right.
Dude, you have Hogwarts next year, Gotham Knights next year, God of War next year, Forbidden West next year, Elden Ring next year.
God, what was that one game that it was like Suicide Squad or something like that?
Oh, that's like a few years away. I think that was like 2024 or 2023. That's a ways away. But yeah, that one was announced
Far Cry 6 is supposed to be coming out this year.
Yeah, Far Cry 6. We have quite a few good games coming out this holiday season. Just no Sony first parties.
Mm-mm.
Just nothing from
Marvel's
Sony.
Galaxy,
Marvel's Galaxy comes out. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, man, that's interesting. Well, I mean, I guess we'll see what's happening for that. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're kind of considering Deathloop for their holiday first party title. I guess that's what they're saying. Like, but that's pretty far away from the holiday, in my opinion. September. Yeah. I don't know, man. We knew it would be delayed, but it's still rough.
Yeah, it sucks.
Still sucks.
It sucks.
You have Battlefield 2024 this holiday.
Yeah, but I was mainly talking about like, you know, PlayStation, Sony Interactive Entertainment, you know, those type of
nothing
things
from them.
From their studio.
Nothing from them.
So, you know, it's a bummer that we got, you know, 2 more solid games getting pushed back even further. You know, I'm really looking forward to playing Kenna, but at this point, if they just went on and pushed it back
I'd be
next
fine
year
with
and
it.
found like a little spot, you know, that'd be cool. But I mean, maybe Kenna will just be that awesome that it's able to hold its own, you know.
Maybe.
Well, we'll see. You know?
Or even delay it to like December, right? Or like the holiday season.
Yeah.
So if you feel like you have something coming out for PlayStation in the holiday season.
Yeah, maybe stash
that they're doing the same month is so funny to me. It doesn't seem like Sony at all. They love to stagger. Mm-hmm. You know, it's so funny.
So maybe stash your ducats away for Kenna and, you know, still get your Deathloop.
Place your bets, bro. Like, what are the odds that they just push it again?
I feel like
going back to your point, like why do 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah, like what's a couple of weeks, right? What's a month? Like, does that do you recall any games that have released a month later and it been okay? Like what games? I think the only ones that I can possibly think of might be like Bug Snacks. That one got pushed back, right?
A month or something? Oh, it was more than a month though. But it was short.
A small portion
it was like
of time,
a couple of months, right?
And it ended up coming out for free on the PlayStation. Destruction All Stars.
Don't tell me that.
Got pushed back a month.
Don't tell me that.
It came out for free. But these were titles. I don't even think they weren't titles that were owned by Sony, right?
No, but I think those titles Sony ended up seeing how bad they were going to be.
Maybe.
And it's like All Stars for sure.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a $7 game. And Sony's like, this is trash.
Right.
So they made it free. Like, I'm just saying, don't tell me like it's going to turn into, you know what? Kenna's going to be free. It's a mess.
I don't think that Kenna will be free. I mean, that would be amazing if it was free.
I know. I'm just saying that would be like foreboding, right? Like an omen, an ill omen.
Yeah, but I just don't see what a month is given. So yeah, I'm willing to bet that Kenna gets pushed back more. I mean,
Yeah.
I would hope that they
I think
wouldn't
that's a
just
fair bet.
try to teeter off of like 1 month pushbacks and then just heave it back, like, all the way till December.
I just
or
wish they would
something,
just
but-
have come out like and said, "Hey, February, give yourself, like you said, an assload of time, and you'll be able to fix everything. If a month will do, then 5 months will do.
Yeah.
And you don't have to compete." Ugh. We'll see, man.
Yeah, we shall see. What that's going to. But for the last topic of the day, it's actually about one person, Shawn Layden.
Back
Our
in the
man,
news.
our boy, the guy who was, used to be the head chairman of Sony PlayStation, and he was talking about some things, about like his experience, being the chairman of PlayStation, and just, in general about how things were working and whatnot. And a lot of the things he was saying, we seem to both agree on, and then kind of expound on that. It makes total sense, right? So this article that we found, that Ray actually found off of gamesindustry.biz, we'll probably try to see if we can drop it down in the link below. So he was essentially talking about how things go with the consoles in general. He was stating that the number of gamers in the world has not increased since like the 1990s or so, when games first started coming out. They've pretty much stayed the same.
About 250 million.
Yeah, obviously, people stop playing, but new people come in. So it's just a rotation of life, the circle of life.
There's
But
no
it's
growth.
the same amount of players. It's just not like a super influx where it's like, oh, this year was booming and we have way more people playing video games in general than ever before. And then he was also talking about how the way things are going now, with there no longer being all of these small studios, that they're just getting gobbled up by these bigger entities and just becoming larger entities. And now it's down to like a handful of these companies, that are producing games, and they're just producing the same type of games. They're not really trying to be extremely innovative, right? I mean, that's from the moment that I started playing games, and I'm sure you started playing games, we've noticed that the more unique games are the indie studios.
Right.
Those are the ones with the people who are thinking completely outside of the box. Like
the
stuff
Strays
you've
of the
never
world.
seen before. The
Yeah.
Strays, yeah. Different things like that. The Fez, the Forager, different games that are just like, wow,
Moonlighters.
where did this come?
This is
Moonlighter,
cool, right?
Stuff like that,
Hades,
Death Store,
right?
stuff like that,
Yeah.
So now you have all of these duplicates, it's like every other day we see a new battle royale coming out, or a new shooter, a first person shooter, Twitch shooter, or something like that. The same types of games. We see all of these games, all these old IPs that they're not making another advancement in the
Right.
story. They're just redoing it. All these remakes, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like,
Right.
damn, all right, bring in Diablo 2, and just juicing up the graphics and stuff like that, and then re-releasing it out to everybody, and expecting them to pay full price for it. Taking Demon Souls, remaking it, then dropping it on a new console. And you're paying full price for it.
Yeah, that was his point, right? That the gamer base hasn't changed. They're just finding ways to get that base to spend more money.
Right.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, the fact that you have, these new consoles, but they don't have new things to play on them. It's all the stuff that you could have played on the other one, but, it's new.
Yeah,
It's
Shawn Layden has been preaching this for like a while, because another thing interesting that he said in this article was, he said that with each new console generation, the cost of making the games doubles.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, because, he was like the magic behind the PS4 generation, and we love the PS4 generation, right?
Right.
A lot of people do. And that carried over to PS5, which is why I think there's a lot of hype for the PS5 as well, because the PS4 was so incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not there anymore, but he said that in the PS4 generation, it cost games for between $100 and $150 million to make. So we're talking like blockbuster movie budgets, right? He's thinking that means that the PS5 generation is going to be exceeding $200 million, like from $100 million to $200 million to make a game. And he's like, what is $10 more on a game going to do? Like, there's a problem here. games are getting too long, too large, too big. He'd rather go back to a great game, but like smaller in length, not necessarily like raising prices, but like changing the way the games look. So instead of trying to squeeze more out of you, change the way the games look. Make them smaller, more bite-sized. Don't make them cost so much. And then you won't have like this panic, right? To make as much money as you can.
Right.
Loot box you to death, right? All these things these games do. There's this big mad panic, right? To make as much money as they can on you. And I agree, you know, like, I don't know if it's because we're getting older. I really don't know necessarily what it is, but I like the innocence of the world. The 10, 12-hour games. The Death's Door was like maybe 8 to 10 hours. I feel really satisfied. After I've played about 10 to 12 hours, I feel like, okay, I've really am satisfied with this game. I'm kind of ready, though, to kind of move on, to try something else. I feel ready. You know?
I sort of agree with that. I mean, I can definitely attest that, like, playing games like Assassin's Creed Valhalla and like Days Gone, it's like you have to be a certain type of fan to try to 100% the game. If you made a game that has about,
50 hours.
20 hours of story, and then there's about 80 or 70 more hours of side story stuff, there's not a lot of people that will do the side story stuff. They might just be focused mainly on the main story, and then they finish that. So if you created 12 hours of main story, but you got 50 hours worth of excess in the game,
exploration,
I might not ever
quest,
see it. I mean, one of the greatest examples I could give is God damn it, Zelda. What's the one for the Switch?
Breath of the Wild?
Breath of the Wild, yeah. So I played it. I played that game, and I might have put like, a good 10 hours or so in that game. But there's so much landscape that I'd never even touched because it didn't matter. Like, the story progressed to this area. I had to get to this area to get to there. Like, you know what I mean? I get having the side stuff and then being able to do that. But I would say if you had that same, a smaller map that just covered the areas that you needed to touch, but there was more minute details in those areas of things to discover, you could still pull out the same amount of hours, with just a shorter amount of landscape, but you've just got more high detail in there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you just populating more items in different crevices and stuff like that, so that every nook and cranny I can search and find something in this game.
Or even just somehow link some of those side missions to the main story, and you can squeeze out that 15-hour game. Like, if you're like I agree, like if you're able to make a game that's like 15, 20 hours of a campaign, and you somehow have 30 to 40 hours additional content with like side missions and stuff, then it shouldn't be a problem for you to get a great 15-hour campaign. Like you said, condense down some of that great stuff into smaller bite-sized chunks. Yeah. And you're going to have a really great game. And like I said, with my age or whatever, like, it does. I feel like the same way. I feel like I'm really excited about a game for like the first 10 to 12 hours. And then my excitement wanes. Like, I may never even see the end now. Like, maybe like even with, I think Valhalla's a great example. I'm in Valhalla, I'm following the main campaign. Something cool strikes my attention in the distance, and so I go and do a side thing, and then I do another side thing. And I've experienced what this game is pretty much in its entirety through the side missions. And because I've gobbled up what this game has to offer, I'm like full of it now. And now the story, the story in and of itself isn't even as interesting to me anymore because I've already gobbled up the experience of playing in the side missions.
Right.
Maybe just make it.
So now I'm not as enthusiastic to finish.
I'm not as enthusiastic to finish the
game.
That's
I have
my point.
not finished Valhalla.
Me neither.
It's kind of like,
and I put probably 25, 30 hours in that game.
Yeah, and it's a great game. It's a fun game, but it's just like I go in there and then it's, the intrigue of finding something else or, what's this over here or whatever. And then I never get done and I just kind of want to finish the story. So then I have to put on blinders and focus mainly on the story and just say, I'm not going to check there because I want to keep on the story.
Okay,
and
I'm done. I'm just going to the story.
That the developers threw out in there because I've been in the dang game so long, and I want to just go with the story. I mean, there's those people that want to just 100% the game, and I get the challenge. You know what I mean? But maybe you could have just like slid everything inward more. And added more difficulties to get stuff underground more
puzzles
something like that.
Yeah,
more puzzles, but kept it here so that it was more streamlined. Like, that's one of the issues, right? Is it's so big and widespread. Like you end up having to go over here for something, and then there's like a couple of more things that kind of lead you out further and further away from the main line of the story.
And now you're full on it.
You're going out that way, and then you're like, damn, I gotta reel it in and get back over here on this path.
Exactly.
To go for it. So like if they had everything just in the main path, you could spend all that time and you wouldn't feel like
I just feel like I'm veering so much when I do side missions, and I don't want to get full off side missions and never see the end. I remember there was like a question some journalist or whatever like was talking about posing, like because like Rockstar games, like a lot of these games feel this way, and they're like, it makes you wonder, how do these developers feel? Because you can look at like completion rates and like when only like 15% of the player base even finish your game. Like how do you feel when like only 15% of the people who bought your game even saw how it ended? Like that's true. Like when the game gets to be like so big and massive like that, no one's finishing it. So what's fascinating to me,
you kind of treat those games as if like, oh, this is a game I'm just going to play for like a long ass time. Like this is an 8-month game. It's not like
it's like over the course of a life, like over the next year.
I know eventually when I don't have anything else to play, I'm just gonna come back to that game and then continue to finish it off. Then I'll stop and then I'll go off and do something else, and I can come back and finish it because there's so much stuff to do in here. And it's like that's cool, the idea of there being so much stuff to do, but realistically, I'm not going to be able to really enjoy it all.
Anybody,
I make
most people,
a point. Yeah, those are the people that want to hunt and play all of Cyberpunk and get every little thing that you
that's
can do.
Few
in
people
Cyberpunk.
though, but yeah,
that number compared to the number of actual players who will just finish the story and won't even do like the large majority of these side quests out here. It's a huge difference.
Never even gets seen or witnessed. Like the work that developer in the corner of the office put in on that section of the map will never even get seen.
Yeah, I mean that was one of the funniest things that I had seen that I had mentioned like months ago. When there was all the issues of Cyberpunk and stuff like that coming out, is that there was developers that saying that
people haven't even seen their part.
That people have not even come across the shit that I have put on this map.
That's so funny, dude.
And this is it's a big map. And you would think like all of these videos of people who discovered this and discovered that and stuff like that. And dudes like, you haven't even found.
I worked on this and no one's even seen what I worked on yet. Yeah, that's like, so funny,
how
dude.
Would you feel if you had put all of your sweat into making this little section of the game, but because the game has so much in it that like nobody ever finds it, or like one or two people find it and end up enjoying it, but because they don't make YouTube videos, nobody else is gonna see it. You know
what's funny though, bro, is like, is there like this kind of like subconscious gamer, or even just like conditioned like market mentality that we don't think that we're getting our money's worth unless we're getting something big like that, even though the vast majority of us don't even experience all of it. So I'll spend $60 on Cyberpunk and only spend 15 hours in it. But I feel like, no, the game has to be, GTA big for me to feel like I want to spend $60 in this game, even though I'll never even experience like the full game.
Yeah, it almost became like definitely like a bigger is better type of thing.
Yeah, that happened.
Like, oh, this game's got 50 hours of gameplay, and you're like, oh shit,
that's worth
50
it.
hours
Here's my money
just for $60.
And you spend 15 hours
there.
in it.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you didn't even spend that 60, or I mean, you did spend that 60, but you still got the story left.
Like, I know. I can't tell you how many games.
Way bigger than 60.
I can't tell you how many games I spent like 40 hours in and didn't even see the ending.
Yeah,
I have so many games like that.
And you just stop because it's just like, oh,
enough already. It's like going to the buffet and you fill your plate with a bunch and you start off strong, right? Yeah. Like, oh, I ate all that I ate all that orange chicken, I ate all that beef, but like as you keep going, like, dude, I can't take anymore. You're like, okay, one bite here until like, okay, I'm just done. Yeah. Like whatever you start off as, like you're into it and you're going hard on Valhalla, like that first 10, or Ghost of Tsushima, like that first 10, 15 is like, this is great. And then you're just kind of like sick of it and you're just kind of like forcing yourself through to the end. Yeah. Where like, I totally agree with Shawn. I have had so much fun. Did you feel like you needed Ratchet to be longer than it was? Or
No,
did you
I
feel
thought
like
it was
this was
actually
like
a great.
I feel satisfied. Like I didn't leave that game thinking I really need more of this.
Yeah, I liked it because you could go in and out of those areas as much as you wanted, and you could search for any and everything in there if you'd like, but you didn't have to. You could literally just go through it, do that story or whatever, and you got everything that was there to offer. You know what I mean? You accumulate a lot just by going on the main story. You know what I mean? If you do like your, very good detective work and you find everything that's there off of the first visit, then cool. But a lot of times you're not going to be able to just because you don't have the skill or whatever to get over there. You know?
I think Ratchet epitomizes your point you're making. I feel like they did exactly what you're saying game developers should do. They have like these little open worlds, but they're tiny.
Yeah.
And within the tiny world, there's these puzzles and everything in there. You kind of got to think a little bit to get, but it's not so big and so much, but you're still getting the feeling of exploration. Even though it's tiny, it's like that feeling is still there. Yeah, it's like, okay, it's right there. Let me take 4 or 5 minutes. I feel good about getting there, but it wasn't like this long beat off the track, and now I'm like 10 quests off the main storyline.
Right.
And now I don't care to go back and finish the story at all, right?
Yeah, the map's like a good size, but the map is here. I can see everything on the map.
And it's tiny enough that I can do it all in a concise amount of time and get the feeling of open world.
Right.
I just think they did a really good job really epitomizing the point you're making. And I felt that way. When I was done playing the game, I didn't feel like, well, gosh, I wish I had more time with this weapon. Or, gosh, I wish I could have killed more enemies with this weapon. I felt very satisfied with, like, every bit that I got. And I was like, I feel like I can be done with this and I can move on and feel like this was perfect. And what was it? A 12 to 15-hour game.
Yeah.
And so that's why, like, I really agree with Shawn. I rather than them trying to squeeze more out of us or spend more money to get bigger games, spend less money but make it a little bit great.
Yeah, do a lot to make that little bit spectacular.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you don't have to make all of that stuff.
You don't have to make Witcher 3 every time.
You spreading out miles and miles in between items isn't necessary if you just made it a little bit harder to get that item, but it's literally
sooner
right
to you,
there.
But closer to you. Exactly.
Yeah, it's literally right there. But you needed to do this, or you had to figure this out in order to get there, or something like that. Honestly, I think that a great testament to this is Returnal. There wasn't a lot for Returnal. I mean, 6 biomes or whatever. But the reason they're so big is just because it's been randomly generated.
Right.
You don't know how many you're going to get or whatever, how many rooms or whatnot.
And what items, where they're at and everything.
There's like this little small amount or whatever, and you go from room to room. So it's always something to explore or whatever. They got shit up here. They got shit down there, whatever, you know what I mean? But you got a beeline of like where you can go. You can go off into a couple of areas, but it's like I just got to go one room over, or I teleport over here and I'm right back on track or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it seemed like they fully utilized the rooms and things like that they created to give you that challenge and stuff like that.
I agree.
And there's, it may be like 6 hours of story in there, but there's so much more hours of gameplay just in general. 1, because of the difficulty,
right?
You know what I mean, and the 2, because of the randomness, of how they present it to you. You never know the beaten path, you know what I mean, and then the roguelike aspect of it is, another one. But
that's why I agree. Like that's why I thought like Returnal could have been really, really great. That's why I wish they had just made it where you could save.
Yeah.
Throughout it, because I think you're right. I think the biomes are like just big enough, like they're just meaty enough.
Yeah, if
they get to be a problem when you're constantly doing it over. But
if you could have collected a game and then maybe like you have saves, and then anything past that save, like your weapon proficiency or some of the stuff, maybe some of the items or whatever that you get. Like maybe the artifacts or something like that.
Right, carry over or something.
If that stuff reset but you still have your weapon. So you just have to get you have to keep climbing on your proficiency or something like that. But the world switched up a little bit or whatever.
That helps. That helps absolutely.
Giving some reset options,
right?
But not
some progression level, right?
Whatever,
exactly.
That would be cool. But
that's really my only complaint.
Having to get all of the artifacts, the parasites, the weapons, all of that stuff, the proficiency, all of that back. You know what I mean? It makes it like even more turmoil and whatnot. But if you were able to keep some of that, it would have been, easier to progress through it and whatnot. But, so, I like we've said 1,000 times, we feel like definitely PlayStation changed once Shawn Layden left the company. And I think that's why we have so many of these dang remakes getting made consistently over for this console. And then just in general, I appreciate the more rare titles that seem like super unique, the new IPs, those things. I appreciate those. And I mean, obviously, you get an RPG, it's going to have those same type of elements, each RPG is going to have a lot of the similar things, you know what I mean? But at least a large majority of them don't feel like they're just cloning off of the last one.
I was one question I wanted to ask you.
A first-person shooter, it just feels like you're playing another one
like
of these COD games or something like that.
Just feels like COD.
Or, you get a battle royale. It's like, damn, I might as well just be playing Fortnite or something like that, It's a lot of these games that just seem like some repetitive shit. Like, why did you guys even create a new IP?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To waste it on this.
This is why,
why don't I have a new story, a new character, something else? You know what I mean?
I know,
I'll take a freaking Ghost of Tsushima. Or
I
any
agree.
of those type of games, because it's something totally new.
Totally.
You're giving me an Defiant of an arena battle, first person shooter. Does it have a campaign? Is that campaign totally different from anything I would have ever experienced from Call of Duty?
Yeah, it's like I think that Sony and really almost all these companies, they do. Because wouldn't you agree, man? Like whenever we watch, this is for me personally. I don't want to speak like for all the gaming community, but whenever I watch, like, say, Xbox's showcase, right, or Sony showcase at E3, I never get excited when they show me Halo or Forza or Gears because I already know what those games are about. It's when they show me, like, that new thing.
What is this?
That Starfield. What is this? When they show me that new thing, that's when I get excited and hyped. Maybe someone gets excited whenever they see the same thing over and over again. But like me personally, I don't.
If you're a big fan of that IP or whatever,
then that's fine. But what excites
or whatever,
right? What excites me more is when I'm watching the show and I go, dude, what was that? That looks really neat. That got me intrigued. I'm gonna follow that, right? I'm gonna keep track on that. And while there is some of a risk, I think they're underselling that feeling, because I do think that that's a pretty big feeling. When you show something new and unique, when they first showed Kenna, that was a brand new IP and we were in love with it. Mm-hmm. I think they're underselling that. There is a lot of power there in new IPs. They get attached to the sequels, right? And sometimes I feel like that's killing the gaming industry. Like Horizon, Forbidden West does really good. Or for Horizon Zero Dawn does really well. And so now we're destined to get Forbidden West, and Sony only wants to work on Forbidden West. And they only want to work on a freaking Last of Us remake. They only want to work on like the next Spider-Man. They only want to work on the things that they know people like, but they're undervaluing, I think, the value of the excitement of something new. And I really do think that's actually more valuable than I think they might give it credit for, in my opinion. And I worry that the game industry, Sony's success with their major IPs can also to some degree be their downfall. Mm-hmm. If they keep doing this Last of Us remake, God of War the next one. Everything is just always a remake.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why this new God of War did so good is because it gave you a whole different aspect. Like it showed you a different idea of God of War. It wasn't just a hack and slash. You know what I mean? Another continuation of the story. It was almost like a rebirth. It gave you a whole new different style of how to play God of War. Now.
New story, everything was new.
Yeah.
You
just had the character,
just the character,
but it was a whole
and the same
world.
myth.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. But it was like all new.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, man. Like I just think they're undervaluing that.
Or or just stop trying to create these killers. Stop trying to create this Fortnite killer or this Halo killer or this whatever killer. Oh, I'm gonna make the game that's gonna shut down Overwatch and they're gonna play my game instead. You know what I mean? And it's like, just create a whole new thing. You know what I mean?
I agree, man.
There's so many different story based games. They take little aspects from some of the other ones, but it's an all new original story. And if you love that story, then you're going to love that game.
I agree, dude. We're so excited for Stray. I mean,
it's just out of the box.
It's just, this is super cool. I'm excited for it.
It's just like, what, you
I just wish there was more
that
of
don't
that.
look fun. Like, I want to play as a cat.
Know.
Oh, this bitch got puzzles. Oh, you doing combat too?
You got
you doing this?
Laser beams and
yeah. It's like,
wow,
okay,
this is really neat.
Going? Like,
yeah,
let me look more into this.
Yeah.
But that's all we got for you guys today, this week. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you commented, we appreciate you. If you haven't commented, what are you doing? Do it now.
Smash that like button.
Smash the like button. Smash the subscribe button. If you've already subscribed, go to somebody else's YouTube. Get on their account. Go to our page and have them subscribe. Just grab somebody's phone and be like, hey, let me borrow your shit real quick. Go in there. Boom. Hit subscribe. We appreciate it. Until next week, hopefully we'll hear some news about Mark when he's coming back to the podcast. But yeah, until then, we'll catch you guys later. Deuces.
Peace.
See you.
I love you, me.